All right. We have completed the events for 1.2, 1 or 2.3, but there is one more that I've been advised to complete before going into Sumeru, and that is 2.6, Hues of the Violet Garden with the Irodori Festival. We'll be returning to Adriatic Raven for this one. I like the way they've done it so far. So, without further ado, let us begin.
Hi, Catherine. We
Hi,
heard that you have
Catherine.
a new commission for us.
That's correct. There's a requester who has submitted a designated commission for
Oh,
the two of you.
specifically
A
for us?
designated commission? Sounds like it must be pretty important. What kind
And
of task
who is it from exactly?
There's no need to worry. This commission is not dangerous by any means. Perhaps you have heard that Inazuma will soon be holding a major festival, the
Well,
magnificent Irodori Festival.
I have now.
Yay! A festival! Oh, come to think of it, we haven't attended a festival in Inazuma for a while.
Yeah, you know,
The Yashiro
I guess
Commission
I've
and Lady
technically
Ai are
attended one or two,
responsible
but
for all the
I'd
festival
love to attend an
preparations.
Irodori festival or
The one
something.
who has requested your help is none other than Lady Ai herself.
Oh, well, we can't turn her down.
You know Miko. She always has some unusual ideas.
And
in
the
her head.
Yashiro Commission for
You
that
can bet
matter.
a festival
We're good
planned
friends.
by her is gonna be one to remember.
I'll
We
bet.
better go to Grand Narukami Shrine and see what she needs us to do.
Now, 2.6, this must be after
Lady Ai is currently at Yae
the
Publishing
Shogun's
House in
story
Hanamizaka,
quests, I think.
so there is no need to go all the way to the shrine. In fact, she has instructed me to have you directly meet with her there.
Oh, good.
Well, that's convenient enough.
Saves us a trip.
Let's go then.
Yeah, I would imagine this is after
Aratani
Raiden
and
Shogun
Kuroda,
Part 1 and 2.
How are things coming along?
But we'll see.
All the books and commission prints for Yae Publishing House were bound and sent out yesterday afternoon, Lady Ai.
Nice.
Very good. And Murata?
We have already received word from Apekusu and Sailing Breeze that the materials are all in place for Shogun Almighty Reborn as Raiden with Unlimited Power.
Yes.
And pretty please
I love
Kitsune
I
Gucci.
remember that story.
Well done. And what about you, Onodera?
Aw, he looks troubled. Should be holding this meeting in private.
Onodera?
Too close.
Yes, Lady Ai. Everything is ready for the new issue release party.
You are the one who organized the plans for this release party. In other words, you are the team's fearless leader now. So please, show some confidence.
That might be a
Besides,
trouble.
there's no need to be nervous. This project is destined for success. I feel quite optimistic about it.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
shall specially grant you leave for the next couple of days, Onodera. Please take the opportunity to have a good rest. After all, you will be very busy on the day of the release party.
Yes, Lady Ai. Thank you very much.
Oh, Onodera. You were helping one of the
All
authors
right
before,
then.
right?
Is everyone clear about their assignments? Good. We are running out of time, so let's get moving. Chop chop.
Yeah, in one of the recent story quests I did. I think he was the one who was helping the writer with the writer's block.
Ah, hello, little ones. I take it you have received my commission,
Yes, we have.
Some organizer you are! It's
What?
nearly time for the festival and you're still over here ramping things up for your light novel business!
I mean, it's her.
Shouldn't you
it's
be
her
getting
business.
back to the Grand Narukami Shrine? You weren't thinking
Light
of
levels are
dumping all the
important,
festival
Paimon.
preparations on us, were you?
She might have.
If so, then you can forget it! Paimon won't accept such a commission!
Yeah, forget it. I love when they're on the same page and
My, such harsh words.
go haroof.
It hurts to hear that kind of talk from you two. But as you can clearly see, I'm here working like a dog for the festival. Yet you say I'm
More
not
like a
doing my
fox,
job.
but yeah.
Let me ask you, little ones. Whoever said that the festival must involve the Grand Narukami Shrine?
She's got a point there, Paimon.
But isn't that a given? This is Inazuma after all.
Maybe, but we don't really know much about
Yes, that is
Inazuman
true.
customs,
But
Paimon.
now that the Sokoku decree has been lifted, Inazuma is no longer the same nation that once resisted change tooth and nail.
Right.
Therefore, rather than sticking to the same old traditional festival, the Yashiro Commission and I have decided to shake things up a little. This time, we'll be holding an international cultural festival.
Very nice.
Distinctly Inazuman, but with a unique twist.
International Cultural Festival. can invite
I suppose I should
Mondstadt,
start by telling
Liyue,
you the origins
Fontaine.
of the Irodori Festival.
maybe Sumeru.
Legend has it that there were 5 poets in ancient Inazuma who were supremely gifted in singing and writing poetry. They are known as the 5 Kasen. Every year, one of the 5 would present a collection of the group's poems to the shogun for review,
Oh, nice.
which would then spark culture discussions regarding those works.
That doesn't
Thanks
happen
to
still, I
them,
imagine.
Inazuma's culture blossomed and gained great influence at that time. As time passed, people began creating various tales based on the 5 Kasen. The Irodori Festival was also developed as a result to show appreciation for their works,
Oh,
which so greatly enriched our lives.
well, that's lovely.
Sounds like a festival that's really
Yeah,
rooted in
what
culture.
exactly... Like, the Irodori Festival, what
Indeed.
exactly is
To
it
describe it in the
celebrating?
words of the ancients, it'd be refined elegance.
Just culture?
Unfortunately, with the flow of time, people have gradually forgotten about the 5 Kasen and the festival. Which is precisely why I've decided to revive the Irodori Festival
Oh, wait,
by
so it wasn't actually,
holding a cultural convention featuring light novels.
this has not been a regular festival, but
Wait a minute. Light novels?
hell yeah. What about the refined, elegant stuff you just
Please
said?
stop looking at me with those baffled expressions. In ancient times, poetry was all the rage. But nowadays, the entertainment format of choice is light novels.
Yeah, I mean, light novels are fun,
The
Paimon.
important thing is not the format, but the creative work itself. It is impossible to come up with anything fresh if you're stuck using some rigid format of the past.
Sure.
Speaking of which, don't you think that the concept of focusing on the now perfectly suits the current Inazuma?
I actually agree, Miko.
And besides, it's a great opportunity to reintroduce Inazuma to all Teyvat through light novels. As they say, it's 2 birds with 1 stone.
Not a bad plan. Though a whole lot of thinly veiled self-justification.
Whoa, that was
Yeah, I mean,
close.
hey, 3
Paimon
birds
was
with 1
really
stone.
carried away by Miko's persuasive tongue. Come on, Miko. You can't fool us. We know you by now. This is all definitely stemming from your own personal
I mean,
interest.
it can be both, Paimon.
I can't deny that my hobbies had no part to play in this. However, regardless of whether it's light novels or a festival, catching people's attention with a fresh concept is the essence here. Well,
Right.
what do you say? Aren't you two even a little curious about what interesting things you might see at the festival?
I am.
Maybe a little. Oh, all right. Paimon's super curious now.
There you go. Besides, light novels are fun.
Come, let's pay a visit to the venue in Rito together. I promise that it will give you a whole new perspective on the festival. There we'll meet a special someone who will tell you more about your tasks.
In Rito?
During the Irodori
Maybe
Festival,
one of the
the
Yashiros?
area around the Outlander
Or
Affairs
Kamisato clan?
Agency will become the main exhibition space for light novels. Once things are in full swing, not only will there be lots of official and fan-created work on display, there'll also be exclusive giveaways, prizes, and new release parties. This small plaza in front of the International Trade Association will be called the 5 Kasen Plaza during the festival, and nearby shops will be selling special light novel merchandise. You certainly won't
Man,
want
this
to
is
miss
gonna be
out.
so lucrative for you, Miko.
How should Paimon put this? It's definitely not your typical festival, but it sure looks like it'll be quite the party.
Like a light novel paradise, yeah.
Huh. Miko, what are these blank boards in the center of the plaza?
I bet it's for some part of the
Yes,
event that we don't get
those
to
are-
do. Yeah? What?
Ah, Lady
Oh,
I did
there's
mention that there
Ayato.
would be some reliable helpers coming to assist with the festivities. It appears she meant you two.
Good to see
At
you,
last,
buddy.
we meet again, Traveler and Paimon. Tell me, how are you faring recently?
Faring quite well.
Oh, it's Ayato! Wow, so even a busy guy like yourself is here to attend the Irodori Festival.
I mean, yeah, cultural
Preparing
stuff is
festivals falls
entirely
under
their
the Yashiro
job,
Commission's
yeah.
scope of responsibilities. Seeing as Lady Yae has poured her heart and soul into the preparations, I'm obliged to be equally dedicated.
Yeah.
Come now, Ayato. We're not strangers here. There's no need to sound so formal. We were just about to discuss the boards
I
over
imagine
here.
you and Miko were good
They're related
friends,
to our
probably
little helper's
scheming
tasks,
together
so I'll let you give
during
them a
the
detailed
Vision
rundown.
Hunt decree.
Certainly. I assume you two already know that the Irodori Festival originated from the 5 Kasen.
Yeah, she explained.
These 5 boards are here for painting their portraits.
Who's
This
gonna paint
Irodori
them?
Festival is not only the first major festival to be held in Inazuma since the lifting of the Sakoku decree, it is also an event deeply rooted in culture and the arts. Therefore,
Right. When was the
the
last
Yashiro
time an
Commission has
Irodori Festival
personally
was
invited
held?
several cultural celebrities from other nations. For
Let me
example,
guess, Barbara?
the artist we have invited to paint these portraits hails from the distant land of Mondstadt.
Albedo?
The Yashiro Commission will arrange accommodations and food in Inazuma for each of the distinguished guests. However, we
Not exactly
fear
a
that staying in a
celebrity,
foreign
though.
land may feel a little uncomfortable, which is precisely why it would be ideal to have someone familiar with both Inazuma and other nations of Teyvat to serve as a guide for our guests.
Well, we can help you with at least 2 of them.
I knew you would catch on. It is our hope that you would be able to guide the guests from the harbor to their residence at the International Trade Association, while providing any necessary assistance along the way.
You know who's really
This arrival
knowledgeable
schedule
about them?
includes the details
Alice.
of the ships on which the guests will be arriving.
Go to travel guide.
All you simply have to do is go to the docks at the indicated times.
Fair enough. Oh. Let's see. 2 days before the festival, let's see. A guest painter, Calx, and his dependent, Calx. I don't know any Calx. Or Calix. Yeah, no. Then the second day from Liyue. Let's see. Calligraphers, painters from Liyue, theater, mega, Canicus players, guest writer, Xingqiu. Also don't know them, I don't think. And then third day, cargo ship stopover, 1 person, no idea, or even where it's from. And then the day following the release event, small passenger ship, 2 persons, unknown origin or people.
It's settled then. My, look at the time. I have to meet with my editors, so I must be going now.
Didn't you literally just meet with them?
During the festival, most of the Yae Publishing House's editors will be staying near the Outlander Affairs
They'll never get their
Agency.
job done if you
If
keep
you run
bugging
into
them.
any problems, you may find them there.
This festival requires the full cooperation of the Tri-Commission.
Right.
And there are still many minor details which require my attention.
Though you'll be
So
leading,
I must
I'd
excuse
imagine.
myself for now.
That's
I'll
it.
leave the guests in your hands.
Culture is entirely your job.
All the details we need about the ships are on the timetable that Ayato gave us.
Oh, there's Albedo.
Let's take a closer look and be sure to pick up the passengers according to the times written on it.
You said it, Paimon. All right.
According to the arrival schedule, there will be a ship arriving from Mondstadt today.
Yeah, like
Artists
10
for the
or
5
8.
Kasen portraits should be on board. The boat should be arriving soon, so let's head down to the docks.
Who is Calix gonna be? Is it just a pseudonym? I mean, for Leo, Xingqiu would make sense as a cultural expert, but... Oh, yeah, no, I don't know them.
Hello! You must be here to take part in the Irodori Festival. We're the festival guides, and we'll show you around.
Actually kind of
Yes,
surprised.
that's right. We are
Oh, no,
bards
that's not
from
Calix.
Mondstadt. Word has it that Inazuma has undergone many changes of late. We hope to find fresh inspiration here.
Paimon, what are you doing?
These guests are all bards, aren't they? Well,
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, Paimon.
strange. He's
But-
pretty famous in Mondstadt. Do you think he didn't receive
Yeah,
an invitation?
there's a chance he wouldn't show up. Also, would have
Huh? What is
Archon
that?
coming here? Yeah.
Oh, Paimon sees what you're getting at. Even though Venti no longer rules over Mondstadt,
Yeah.
he's still an Archon.
I'm not sure how the Shogun would feel about another Archon coming
If he
here.
came rushing to Inazuma at the first mention of a festival, not only would it seem a little
Oh!
childish, it would also sort of be shameless of him too.
Speaking of diplomatic incidents, I mean, I think an Archon, barging into Inazuma is far less dangerous than sending Klee as a diplomatic representative. Yes.
Honorary Knight, Paimon!
I'm so happy they went with that.
It's Klee! Were you also invited to the Irodori Festival? No, Albedo.
Oh, it is Albedo.
Received the invitation, but because everyone in the Knights of Favonius has been really busy these days, Albedo arranged for someone here to issue me a dependent pass.
Aw, good
Greetings,
job,
traveler
Albedo.
Paimon. After hearing that Inazuma was making preparations for the Irodori Festival, I predicted that I might run into you here.
Yeah, wouldn't miss hanging out with you and Klee for the world.
Albedo's the one they've invited to paint the 5 Kasen.
So your pseudonym
It
is
seems that
Calyx.
you already know why I'm here. Just so you're aware, I'll be using my pen name in Inazuma, Calx.
Calyx,
By
okay.
the way, do you know where the International Trade Association is?
No.
I'll be meeting with the editorial director of the Yai publishing house there.
I can probably get you to in contact with Miko,
International
though.
Trade Association is where you'll be staying in Inazuma.
Oh.
We'll be heading there too.
I guess I didn't pay close
Great.
enough attention, Paimon.
Let's get
Thank you for
going then.
covering. I look forward to seeing you some more, Klee.
Wow, it's so beautiful here.
Yes, it
so
is.
Many things I've never seen before.
Careful,
Slow down,
Albedo.
Klee. Please be careful not to bump into others.
Try not to blow anything up. You didn't let her smuggle
Telling
bombs in
Klee
here,
so
did
many
you?
Stories about Inazuma during the trip was probably not the best idea.
No,
As a
you
result,
did good.
she could hardly sleep all the way here. It appears she's even more excited now that we've arrived.
That's how, nothing wrong with a little excitement.
Strange. It seems that the editorial director, Mr. Hiroyama, isn't here yet. I'm certain he said that he'd be sure to arrive before me. This might be a problem.
Why?
Well, Mr. Hiroyama was supposed to meet with me and give me some reference materials about the 5 Kasen today. That way, I could better visualize the content for my paintings.
He might just be running a little late.
You had no idea what you'd be painting.
You should
before
really
you
be keeping a
arrived
better
in
eye on
Inazuma?
Klee. Uh-oh.
I only know of the 5 Kasen by name. Because of the sheer age of the tale, very little has been passed down to this day. So Mr. Hiroyama decided to help me collect some more information.
Nice.
I'm the type of painter who can complete a painting
Looking
quickly
at some
as
leaves?
long as I'm inspired. So I agreed on only receiving the details today.
So when do the paintings have to be done by?
Good question, Paimon.
According to the festival plans, the portraits will be revealed one at a time throughout the various stages of the Irodori Festival.
Yours is probably
The first
first.
one, depicting Suiko, will need to be done before the festival's official opening ceremony, which is the day after tomorrow.
The day after tomorrow? Then you're already running out of time.
Yeah, that's not enough time to
There's no need
paint.
to panic. When I was working on light novel illustrations, because the manuscripts are shipped by boat,
She's so enjoying
things
herself.
were always
I
tight
love
and
it.
finished at the last minute. Just last month, to ensure the latest book of A Legend of Sword would be finished for the Irodori Festival, I had to complete the final chapter's illustrations the same day I received the manuscript.
Damn.
I heard that my illustrations were sent to print as soon as they arrived in Inazuma. I still don't know how well they turned out.
I'm sure it's fine.
Paimon isn't sure if she should feel sympathetic for your working conditions or compliment you on your artistic genius.
I think both.
Of course, I would still prefer to receive any possible reference materials in advance, so that I can be better prepared.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Miko did mention what?
The editors of the Yai Publishing House will all be around the Outlander Affairs Agency these next few
Yeah.
days. Who knows? Maybe Mr. Hirayama's over there too.
Maybe.
We'll take you over there to see if we can find him, Albedo.
She's hopping. She's happy.
Alright, it's worth a try. Klee, you haven't slept for a while now. Please stay at our residence in the International Trade Association and get some rest. We will be back soon.
You gonna send her off on her own?
Don't worry, Albedo. I'll be on my best behavior.
I kind of believe you, but that's also a problem.
This can't be
Use the best
happening.
behavior is,
The moment we need to contact
well.
Inadera is when he's on special leave.
oh no. Where did you
Kuroda
disappear
and I
to?
will go back to Inazuma City for an emergency printing run. The demand for this book is so high, though. Even with the emergency prints, it still might not be enough.
Despite everything, we're still lucky that we
Murata.
found out today. If this had happened a few days later, then we'd really be in boiling water. Ugh. Hey, do you think that suspicious guy they found in the warehouse has anything to do with this?
Suspicious
well,
guy.
The editorial director is on his way over there to investigate the situation as we speak.
If you hear any explosions,
Sorry to interrupt,
don't
but
worry.
What's going on
It's just children being children.
Oh, hey, traveler. Don't worry. It's nothing, just an internal issue. That's all. How can I help you?
I'm looking for the editorial director, Mr. Hiroyama. Does anyone know where he is now?
Mr. Hirayama is currently at the warehouse down by the harbor.
Okay.
Oh, hold on a second, Murata. Excuse me, but you must be Calx.
That
the
is
one
him.
who was invited to paint the 5 Kasen for the festival?
The one and only.
Yes, that's me.
My name is Kuroda. You must be inquiring about information regarding the 5 Kasen.
That he is.
I do apologize, but please make yourself comfortable at the International Trade Association, and I will let Mr. Hirayama know to send you the materials right away.
Something you don't want us to
No
see.
need. You guys look super busy, so we can go find him ourselves.
Gonna deny it?
Well, about
Yeah.
that.
They don't want us to go.
Excuse me, but is there something wrong with the latest volume of A Legend of Sword?
Huh? How did you know?
Well, heard you talking.
Since you were all aware that Mr. Hiroyama needed to send me some supporting materials, that means the editorial director didn't forget about it. Instead, something urgent must have cropped up. To add to that, despite being aware that I am Calx, you were still unwilling to let me go to Mr. Hiroyama directly. After considering these factors, the only reason you would try to stall me is if something happened to A Legend of Sword, which I did the illustrations for.
I mean, there might be other reasons, but sure.
I'm very sorry. The situation is just as you said, Calx. I suppose it doesn't hurt to tell you now. Earlier today, someone spotted a suspicious outlander sneaking around inside the Irodori Festival warehouse down by the docks.
Suspicious outlander.
So they promptly alerted the Tenryou Commission. The Tenryou Commission was concerned about potential cargo theft, so they contacted everyone who was renting space in the warehouse. It was then that we realized that the latest copies of A Legend of Sword had suddenly gone missing.
Oh no.
What?
You think they
The
stole
books
it?
are missing?
Shh, not so
The person?
loud. Not only is this book an eagerly anticipated release in the last phase of the Irodori Festival, but the author, Xingqiu, will be personally attending the release party as well.
Because of the dire situation, Mr. Hirayama immediately hurried to the warehouse to determine whether the theft was related to that suspicious outlander.
Did he find
I
anything?
see. It would be a great misfortune if A Legend of Sword would not be released on schedule. And quite a disappointment for Xingqiu as well.
Well, could
If
still be
Mr.
released.
Hiroyama has gone to the
Oh, you know
warehouse at the
what?
dock-
I'll bet Genu is the pen name for Xingqiu. Gotta be right. Said he's the clear painter, and then Xingqiu is the clear author.
docks. Then I'll go down to see if I can be of any help.
So the author of A Legend of Sword is Jay. Sounds familiar. Hey, isn't that Xingqiu's pen name?
Yes.
Oh, do you know him?
Good friends.
Xingqiu would definitely be upset if he discovers his books are missing.
Well, it
Wants to
would more
accompany
just be a
Albedo to the
limited
warehouse
release,
too.
not like a delayed release. Hello, Sarah. Venti did come. Yeah.
It's you! Why are you here?
I'm
He's
here
got
on
it.
behalf of the Tenryou Commission, of course.
No,
Is that surprising?
not you, Sarah.
Sarah, Paimon wasn't talking about you! So, Tone Deaf Bard. The
Yes.
suspicious outlander in the warehouse.
I was gonna
wouldn't
say,
happen
but
to
I
be
didn't
you,
actually think.
would it?
Considering the evidence, it appears that the suspicious outlander
I
is
should have said it.
indeed me.
I should have said it. I was thinking, Venti, you didn't actually sneak onto the island, did you?
As
Working?
I have told you, you are a suspect. Before your allegations of theft and illegal entry as a stowaway are cleared, you are to remain silent. Don't make me say it again.
Sarah,
Traveler,
you are.
Paimon, do you know this self-proclaimed bard from Mondstadt?
I can't say he's a complete stranger.
Listen, Sarah. Knowing him, it's safe to say that he wasn't behind
Yeah.
the theft. But what's this about being a stowaway?
Didn't you receive
Although
an
he claims
invitation?
to be a special guest for the Irodori Festival, He's failed to present his invitation letter. Therefore,
Why?
we can only suspect that he might have entered the country illegally. And just a moment ago, we caught him in a dandelion wine crate near the Sailing Breeze.
God damn it, Venti.
If it would help shed any light on the situation, then please, be my guest.
What?
Oh,
Venti,
you didn't really come here illegally, did you?
you stowed away.
Ouch, your words wound me.
You fell asleep in a wine barrel after drinking it all and accidentally came here illegally, even though you did have an invitation, didn't you?
We've been apart for so long, and the moment we meet again, all I'm greeted with is grilling questions and suspicious glares. You arrived in Inazuma via similar means, or so I
Well,
heard.
not quite.
You
Not in
of
a
all
wine
people
barrel.
should be more understanding, don't you think?
Similar means?
No, nothing.
I merely jest. Fear not, for the person who sent me the invitation is none other than Kamisato Ayato of Yashiro Commission. It's unlikely that someone acquainted with the likes of him would ever be here illegally, right?
But why weren't you on the same ship as the other bards?
Yeah, why?
Well, once I received the invitation letter, I couldn't help but want to come to Inazuma a little early. It was then that I happened upon a cargo ship bound for Inazuma transporting
Venti.
dandelion wine. So, naturally, I decided to set sail with
Of course you did.
Once aboard,
That's
I
also
found the captain
illegally.
to be a kindred spirit, and I was treated to an abundance of fine liquor along the way. I must have fallen asleep in the cargo crate while carefully comparing the tastes of dandelion wine and Inazuman sake.
I'll bet.
And when I woke up, I found myself in this warehouse with a Tenryou Commission General glaring at me from atop the grate.
So they just dumped you
Coming
there?
from Venti,
That's amazing.
this story is quite believable, but it still feels a bit...
Shameless.
Excuse me, I'm the owner of the stolen goods from the IA publishing house, and there are some questions I would like to ask you.
Oh, there's Mr.
Based on what you just
Hirayama.
said, it seems you've been in the warehouse for some
Hirayama.
time now. If that's the case, did you happen to hear anything unusual?
He was fast asleep drunk.
Actually, I did hear some faint footsteps
Oh.
around me a couple of times.
You were a little lucid.
But I didn't consider the sound anything out of the ordinary.
But if you clearly heard something, why didn't you feel it was unusual?
I mean,
I seem to understand now.
do you?
Huh? What did you notice, Albedo?
When it comes to burglars, they are generally associated with prying or rummaging through things.
Right.
What Venti means is that he did not hear anything unusual like that.
I mean, people move about
As
in
for the sound of
warehouses.
footsteps, because this is a warehouse where many
Yeah.
goods are coming in and out each day, it is quite normal for people to be walking around.
Yeah, nothing unusual
I
there.
see. But if that's the case, then we're back to square one regarding the stolen books.
Shoot.
No, not quite. From the facts that have been presented to us, we can draw at least 3 conclusions now.
No?
First, whoever took the novels is not a spur-of-the-moment burglar.
I
They had their sights on the
mean,
books from the very beginning.
I think that's likely just
Second,
because it's such an
The
odd
culprit
target to
was very
steal.
familiar with the warehouse, and might even have a key.
A
And
bit
third,
of a reach, but probable.
I knew you'd catch on, Traveler.
Oh, I missed it.
One person. And third,
Must be more than one criminal
I knew
involved.
you'd catch on, Traveler.
Hmm.
One person couldn't possibly transport so many heavy books in such a short window of time. It must have been a team effort.
Yeah, that's
It
probably
goes
fair.
without saying that Venti clearly does not match up with our culprits.
Yes, I agree with your reasoning.
Oh well.
Mr. Hirayama, the Tenryou Commission will continue by investigating the warehouse staff. If you come across any further clues, please notify us immediately.
Yes, understood. I'll leave it to you then.
I suppose I'm free as a bird then.
And
Not so fast.
Yep.
Even though we've cleared the theft allegations, we still haven't ascertained whether your arrival in Inazuma was legal or not.
Aw, 'tis a shame. I thought surely after my honest account you might let me off the hook.
he's doing that
Quite
little
the meticulous one.
sticking his tongue out.
Where's your invitation letter, Venti?
Yes, the invitation letter.
Yeah.
I'm truly sorry. I can't seem to remember where I may have.
I would say a likely story, but it is in fact a likely story.
Did you lose something so important.
Paimon,
Don't be mistaken.
look who you're
I
asking.
was well aware of how important it was. But I didn't bring any luggage with me, and the letter was too big to fit in my
Is
pocket.
carefree,
So
put
I
it nicely.
kept it in my hand the whole trip. Strange. Though I had a little too much to drink, I know that I kept it in a secure place.
Your hand.
I even recall being most pleased at coming up with a good idea at the time.
In your hat?
If you were holding the invitation in your hand the whole time, then why did you put it down?
Good question,
Well,
Paimon.
To properly compare the taste
Oh no,
of
he had to
Mondstadt
double
wine
fist
and
them.
Inazuman sake, I had to hold a glass in each hand.
Yeah.
I couldn't both hold the invitation and a glass at the same time.
Of course not.
But surely I wouldn't put it in just any random place. It could easily be misplaced.
In which case, I believe there's only one place it could be. Have you figured it out, Traveler?
Gotta be his hat.
Huh? You're way ahead of Paimon. Do you two already know where the invitation letter is?
In his cape, and it's in his hat. Or his shoe. I guess that could be.
Huh? That doesn't sound right. The invitation is pretty big, isn't it?
I have no
If
idea.
it's in his shoe, he
Could
would
be a
feel
tiny
it
slip
when
for all I
he's
know.
walking.
But yeah.
Drinking too much may occasionally render the tongue a little numb, but it's true. It certainly wouldn't affect the feet.
It's in his cape? Nah, it's his hat.
Ah, yes! I remember now. I knew you'd help me find it.
Of course.
This is indeed an invitation letter issued by the Yashiro Commission. Now that we've confirmed this guest's identity, I have no further questions.
Now,
However,
Sarah?
starting tonight, I would advise you to stay at the International Trade Association. Now, if you'll excuse me,
Would you
I'll be
believe
leaving
me
now.
if I told you just stopped a god?
There goes Sara. All right, let's go talk to Mr. Hirayama about Albedo's reference materials.
Luckily, Venti's a very carefree god.
Mr. Hiroyama, I'm Calx. We had originally arranged to meet today.
Ah, yes, so you are Calx. I'm very sorry that you've arrived in Inazuma only to find such a mess.
It's not your
These
fault.
are the materials regarding the 5 Kasen. All the information that we could find is compiled here.
Oh my. About the 5 Kasen. Long ago, there were 5 legendary poets in Inazuma. Supremely gifted in music and writing, they were honored as the 5 Kasen, meaning 5 fairies of singing and poetry. It is said that the shogun loved their works profoundly, and that every year one of them would go to Tenchukaku and present their new poetry collection for the shogun's perusal. The 5 Kasen are known as Suiko, Ayui no Okina, Akahito, Sumi-zome, and Kuronushi, respectively. But their real names were lost in history. Oh, right, those are just pen names, I guess. According to a widely accepted theory, tales of the 5 Kasen had once been repeatedly adapted and performed on stage, the 5 characters each dressed in a distinct color. It's kind of fitting that 5, legendary writers, poets, would then become the source for further poetry. With 5 characters each dressed in a distinct color: green, blue, red, white, and black. Over time, theater goers started referring to them by these colors, hence the names we see today. Oh. Do those names mean those colors? Or maybe the kanji for them would mean those colors or something. Actually, wait. Kuro. Isn't Kuro black? If so, yeah, then okay. For instance, or names we see today. Still, there exist other theories. For instance, some believe Suiko was named after his dwelling, a thatched cottage called Suiko hut. Some also say that the aka in Akahito was derived from the poet's habit of marking his works with a scarlet red seal. About the tales of the five Kasen. Everyone in Inazuma knows the tale of the five Kasen, and stories featuring them were once all the rage in Inazuma. What is unfortunate, however, is that despite their popularity and abundance at the time, not much detail survived till today. I would think the Shogun would maintain that detail, at least in her memory. Most, or Yaimiko, most were probably lost during the Great Calamity 500 years ago. According to... Wait, was it 500 years for the Shadow incident? Because if so, it would have been A's sister who was the one who loved the poetry. Which honestly I could believe. She seemed a little more... I don't know. From what we know, what we've heard, seemed a little kinder. A little more cultured. Let's see. Most were lost. According to existing literature, during the Golden Age, when many such stories were being created, they usually followed the same set of rules. 4 poems in succession, each telling a fragment of the story from a Kasen's point of view, with the 4 together completing the whole tale. What was curious was that no single chapter seemed to be narrated from Kuronushi's perspective. Interesting. I was going to say 4, not 5. Oh, more. Five Kasen summary. Suiko, a free sake-loving soul born into an ordinary family. Oh, you would get along with this one, Venti. Some say he got the name Suiko from Suiko Hut, the thatched cottage he lived in. Aoi no Okina. An old man accomplished in chess. Ooh, nice. In addition to poems, is it actually chess or shogi? They are different, even though they're very similar. In addition to poems, he has also left behind a few novels. Some say he was actually a shogunate official who had not made a name until his senior years. Others say he was not a human, but a very old kitsune in human form. I mean, I could see it. Akahito, a talented swordsman who most likely came from a martial family. Some say his name was derived from his habit of marking his works with the scarlet red seal. Sumi-zome. She was once a shrine maiden skilled in floral arts and dancing. Later, she became the shogun's personal attendant. Some say she resigned from her position after she became famous and devoted herself to artistic creation. Others say she kept serving the shogun into her old age. Wait, no. We did meet one of the shogun's attendants, didn't we? In a memory? But I don't think it was Sumi-zome. And then Kuronushi. Little is known about him, nor does anyone know who he really is. Maybe this explains the more varied versions of his identity and personality from story to story as compared to the other 4 Kasen.
Let's see here. Yes, it's just as I had suspected. Monikers such as Suiko and Aoi no Okina aren't the real names of the 5 Kasen. Though there were once many stories regarding each of the 5 Kasen, the validity of their contents can no longer be verified in present times. Alas, what a shame.
Yeah.
But, at the very least, we know that most of the stories were written according to a similar style. So there is still something we may glean from this.
Right.
So, is the info useful for your paintings, Albedo?
To some extent, yes. However, I must admit that it is still lacking and...
What do you need more?
Fails to fulfill the most crucial element. Inspiration.
Maybe if you heard some people tell stories about it.
This information is not as exhaustive as you had hoped.
About them.
However, it is not possible to gather anything more at the moment. Though,
It was
Lady
Suiko
Ai
that
did
you
say
needed
there are
inspiration
many
for
variations of the
specifically, right?
story about the 5 Kasen, and everyone has a different story in their heart.
Right.
So all you need to do is follow through with what's in your own heart, and create something that you yourself find interesting.
Not sure if that's how.
That does sound like something Miko would say.
Doesn't seem like how Albedo
Thank
functions,
you, Mr.
though.
Hirayama. No need to worry. I'll find inspiration for the portraits.
Good.
I'll leave it to you then, Calx.
I mean, he's an amazing
And there's
artist.
one more thing I need to ask of everyone.
I'm not sure if he's creative,
Tomorrow
though.
morning, Mr. Xingqiu, the author of A Legend of Sword, will be arriving in
no.
Inazuma by boat. If you see him, please do not mention the stolen novels for the time being. Whether the stolen books are eventually recovered or not, the Eye Publishing House will do its best to ensure that the novel's release is a success.
Very good.
You have my gratitude. I'll be going then.
Wait a minute. Was the Irodori there was a quest, a daily quest in Liyue where you would help people submit stories for some contest or festival or something in Inazuma. I'm wondering if that was for the Irodori Festival. I can't remember.
Seems there's nothing more we can do here. Let's go.
What are you doing back there, Venti? We should probably check in on Klee before,
Venti?
you
What
know,
are you doing over
she
there?
Klees.
You don't want us to leave you behind, do you?
Traveler, Albedo, would you mind coming over here for a moment? There's something peculiar that I think you should see.
Is it about the theft?
What is it, Venti? A piece of paper.
Indeed. When I awakened to find myself in the warehouse this morning, I discovered this paper in the cargo crate where I was sleeping.
Oh?
I didn't think much of it then. I thought it was merely a scrap piece of paper that had fallen into the cargo.
You didn't
After
read
a
it?
quick glance, I stuffed it into a place nearby. But on second thought, I think it's worth having you take a look at what's written on it.
Alright, shoot. 5 Kasen Splendors, Suiko. Oh, there you go, Albedo. My dwelling was far from the wider world, but for my fame, my peace was disturbed. In blue clad, I went before Tenchukaku to present our work, but Ioui's work was missing a page. Well, that sucks. I wonder why that was. I knelt and begged for divine wrath to be stilled, and I told what I knew of how it was lost. Divine wrath over a poem? That seems a bit much, Shogun. The previous night I had been drunk, and then a person's shadow had passed over me. Some treacherous scoundrel must have stolen the poem, leading to my great loss of face. But wait, it was Ioui's work that was missing a page, not your own. Or were you handling their work? Interesting poem. Or, I guess it's not actually a poem.
Suiko chapter. Wait a minute. Isn't Suiko the name of one of the 5 Kasen?
The first, the one
story
that
told
Albedo
in this
needs.
poem roughly boils down to Suiko getting tipsy and letting some poems that were meant for the shogun get stolen.
This, I think Venti should serve as good
This story
inspiration.
sounds familiar to my ear. Where have I heard it?
Your life story?
Seriously? It's literally the same story you just experienced yesterday.
Yeah. Wait, yesterday.
Oh, indeed it is. Interesting, isn't it?
It seems related to the
Yes,
stolen
I concur.
novels.
The person who left this paper could quite possibly be the criminal, or even a witness to the theft.
Could be.
But why leave the paper here in such a fashion? And if the one who left it here was a witness, why didn't they attempt to stop the burglary?
All right, let's not get ahead
Good
of
questions,
ourselves.
Albedo.
Meeting together in Inazuma like this is a most rare occasion.
Would you like to get
Since
drunk?
we've been busy from the start of the day, let
Or
us find
enjoy
an
a
inn
few
with good
drinks?
drink to keep
Yeah.
our thirst at bay.
You know, there is some dandelion wine imported.
Just sobered up and you're already thinking about more drinks?
Paimon, it's Venti.
Let's not forget that Albedo still has a portrait to complete.
That's fair,
We
though.
don't have time to be slacking off.
Well, Venti
No,
does.
Fine. Let's all go for a drink together. It'll be my treat.
Oh, thank you,
Wait a
Albedo.
minute. What about your portrait?
He's Albedo. He's
As
too
I
good.
mentioned before,
Paimon.
I'm the kind of artist who can work quickly once I'm inspired.
Yeah, remember when he painted you? It's super detailed in like 5 seconds.
If I use a model as reference for the piece, we must pay him back with the appropriate recompense.
Yes, you are using Venti as a model.
In that case, we'll need to order more dishes.
He's nothing if not a mooch. I love it.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal.
It does look like Venti
But
there.
a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter.
It's a nice outfit there, Shogun.
He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
But who? I guess we'll find out. From a different perspective.
Wow, you really came through, Albedo. You were able to complete the first portrait before the opening ceremony.
Well
Yes,
done.
it really is a sight to behold. Not only does it harken to the traditional style of Inazuma,
It does.
but it also makes use of modern aesthetics. My figure is particularly striking. Even though I'm sound asleep in the portrait, I still appear as glorious as always.
Hey, don't get too full of yourself, Tone Deaf Bard. You were just a model. The person in the artwork isn't actually you.
He knows that. Well,
Albedo,
a part of me wouldn't be surprised if it actually was
The
him
next
in
one
the
will be
story,
Aoi
but
no Okina,
almost
the 5
certainly not.
Kasen.
Albedo, might I suggest waiting a little before starting on the next one? Who knows? You might soon discover another story.
Oh, wait.
another story?
You are
I
painting
believe
all
he's
of them.
referring to the possibility of finding another paper
That
with
actually makes
tales of
sense.
the 5 Kasen.
You are. Who
According
better?
to the reference materials I was given, we've only found the first of a total of 4 chapters.
Do you think the mysterious person who left the first paper will strike again?
Maybe?
It certainly is a possibility. Also,
If this is a part of
there
a
are
plan
some
of
points
theirs.
regarding the stories of the 5 Kasen that have left me rather curious.
Oh,
For example, the reference materials make mention of 5 legendary figures, yet all the popular stories only consist of 4 parts.
yeah, Kuro
It
is.
appears that throughout all the stories, there is never a chapter dedicated to Kuronushi.
Yes, I'm also curious about these stories myself. But who knows? They may merely be akin to the old saying in Mondstadt. Seeds of stories brought by the wind and cultivated by time. So for now, we need but just wait patiently.
Fair enough. Following day.
The passenger ship
All
from
right,
Liyue that we're
Xingqiu.
supposed to meet should be arriving soon. Let's go to the docks.
Jinyu.
You know that Xingqiu will be on board, right? So we should be careful not to say anything about the stolen novels.
Right. I want to see Klee again. I wonder who else from Liyue might be showing up.
Hi there! You must be visiting from Liyue to participate in the Irodori Festival.
That they
We'll be
are.
your guides and we'll take you onto the island.
And what are you all? Novelists? Something else?
Huh? Is it Paimon or have we met somewhere before?
You do look familiar.
Yes, in fact, we have.
Ah,
I'm Shu from
Shu.
Feiyun Commerce Guild. Aboard this ship, we have calligraphers, painters, and even players of Theater Mechanicus.
Nice.
The inventor of Theater Mechanicus previously came to the Feiyun Commerce Guild seeking investment. Although the guild manager was not interested, the master still wanted to support them. We heard that they'd be demonstrating the game and letting people try Theater Mechanicus at the Irodori Festival.
Theater
So the guild
Mechanicus
manager
is something I've
instructed
seen
Master and I
before.
to take the opportunity to come to Inazuma and investigate the product's potential.
Is it something from
Speaking of
Fontaine?
which, where's the young master?
Master, he's,
There he is.
Whoa!
Oh, he's sleeping.
Xingqiu's just sitting there, sound asleep.
He must have had a tired journey. Or maybe he doesn't like sea travel?
Oh. It's the traveler in Paimon.
Hey
I
there.
presume you are guests in Inazuma as well?
Yeah, we've
It
been
seems fate has destined our paths to cross once
for
again.
quite a while.
Oh, we aren't actually guests. We're actually guides for the Irodori Festival.
Yeah, how have you
Please,
been?
no need to worry. I was a little too caught up in a novel on the voyage here.
Ah.
When I finally realized what time it was, the first rays of dawn were already peeking over the horizon.
You just stayed up
Yes.
too late
Now
reading.
that we've arrived,
I get that.
The Kanjo Commission will likely
I've
wish
done
to
that.
inspect our invitation letter. Let's keep it in hand, shall we? Huh? That's odd.
Yeah? What?
There was a piece of paper underneath my bag.
Ah.
Strange. I don't recall seeing it there before.
Ooh, let Paimon have a look.
About, yep. 5 Kasen Splendor. Ioi no Okina. Glorious court life was my youth, and my old age a moonlit haze. I had not wished to behave so treacherously, but my very life was threatened. So I sought out my old work and hid them in my clothes. I do not understand the reason behind all that has happened, only that the mysterious person's motives must be perverse. This poem was dedicated to Akihito, who to my great sorrow was banished. Oh. Now, Ioi no Okina's work was the one that was missing a page. It sounded like you're the one who removed your work from, that collection for some reason. Interesting. Maybe it'll be
There's
more
no doubt
clear
about it. It's from the same series
once
as
we
the story
see
we
the,
found before. Even the handwriting looks exactly the same.
Yeah, once we see the
story
animation.
You found before?
Oh yeah, in the warehouse down by the.
Very close one there, Paimon.
Competition.
A look of horror on the traveler's
A
face.
friend of ours is on Rito to paint portraits of the
That was great.
Kasen. As part of the Irodori Festival. Poetic stories about the 5 Kasen have been hidden in various places nearby.
Oh, yeah.
If you can find one of the stories and give it to this friend of ours, then there's a chance you'll become the model for the next portrait.
I mean, he might be the
Wait a
model for the
moment.
next portrait.
So you mean that...
Oh, he's on to us. Paimon, you're so terrible at making up stories.
Hey, it's hard coming up with stuff on the spot like that.
There's a chance of meeting Calx in person?
Yes, there is.
Huh? Oh, yeah. You could say
It's
that.
kind of adorable that he's...
Really? That's wonderful. I knew that
A
Calx
fan
would
of
attend the
Calx.
Irodori Festival, but convincing my father to let me come to Inazuma was proving to be quite the high hurdle. I had to really rack my mind to come up with the excuse of evaluating the investment value of Theater Mechanicus.
Well done,
Just a
Xingqiu.
few days later, word then came that Calx would be busy painting portraits of the 5 Kasen during the festival.
I mean, he
It was
is.
a most rare opportunity for both Calx and I to be in Inazuma together, but it seemed he would be too busy with the portraits to meet with me.
Nah, it's fine.
So,
He needs a model
I
anyways.
felt quite disappointed for some time now.
Don't worry, Xingqiu. Even though Calx has work to do, he still has time to see friends. We can take you to see him
And
right
he
now.
might even be a... I think he's even a
we
fan
heard
of
that
your own
Calx
work,
did
too.
illustrations for your A Legend of Sword novel.
Yeah.
Ah, so you've already heard.
Yes, we have.
To be honest,
We're friends with both
my
of
works
you.
have drawn little interest in Liyue. However, the novels are selling quite well in Inazuma with the help of
Right.
Calx's beautiful illustrations. Calx is not only a
That's
skilled
not
artist,
just the
but he also
illustration.
carries out his craft with great alacrity. I heard that it took him merely a few hours to finish the illustrations for the
I actually
latest
only
chapter.
consider the illustrations a
But when I looked at
minor
the art, the brushwork did not even look the slightest
bit
bit
for
rushed.
light novels,
His work is truly exquisite.
even though the source
oh my,
of the name.
I was beginning to get carried away there. Let us depart.
I mean, it
Quickly
is.
now.
It is exquisite work. Yeah, if you removed all the images from a light novel,
Luckily, the idea of meeting Albedo
yeah,
managed
as
to
long
draw
as I mean,
Xingqiu's
the story should
attention
still be
and
good
keep
on
the
its own.
situation under wraps. Let's just hope we don't let anything slip while meeting Albedo.
Just don't talk, Paimon. You'll be fine.
Traveler, Paimon, how are you? And who is this accompanying
May
you?
we introduce you,
You
to
must be
Genyu?
Calx. It's a great pleasure to finally meet you. I am the author of A Legend of Sword, forgive me. It's rude of me to introduce myself by my pen name when meeting in person. Please, call me Xingqiu.
Yeah.
You may call me Albedo, then.
No. that would be most improper.
Aw.
Why not? Seeing as we're both friends of the Traveler, it'd be more convenient for us to use our real names.
Yeah.
Besides, we've already corresponded with each other many times before. In fact, I feel a bit self-conscious seeing you act so
He's
politely.
just a fan of yours, Albedo. It's adorable.
It's not just you, Albedo. We haven't seen Xingqiu act this awkward before
Oh,
either.
eye-opener. Learned some new tips on manners today.
You guys, it's certainly not good taste for you two to be teasing me like that.
But it is good fun.
By the way, we happened to find a story from the poem hunt competition at the docks. I heard that you are collecting them.
Poem hunt?
Yes.
You know, that thing where we have to find pieces of paper with stories of the 5 Kasen? Venti found one, and then he was allowed to be a model for one of your portraits.
Good catch, Paimon.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Very good. Good on Albedo for playing
we
along.
understand the story now. Thank you. It's very helpful.
Splendid. Though, I'm still piecing together the story myself. Would you kindly explain it to me in more detail?
Why, of course.
If all of you are free, why don't we discuss this over a meal?
Yeah.
Well, about that.
Do you have other plans, Xingqiu?
No, not at all. Speaking of dining, Shimura's unagi chasuke is quite delicious. Would you like to
some
go there?
unagi.
Shimura's. Unfortunately, today is a bit windy. How about Uyuu restaurant instead?
Sure.
That's perfectly fine with me. But I must first unpack my luggage. Let's meet later at Uyuu restaurant.
See you there, Xingqiu.
Something didn't quite add up just now.
What?
Huh? No way! Paimon thinks we acted well together. Did we say something we weren't supposed to?
It's not that, Paimon.
No, Paimon, I'm not referring to us. Traveler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Xingqiu was a little suspicious.
Xingqiu's suspicious? Hey, what are you two talking about?
Paimon, you read the poem, right?
I mean...
Although it may seem confusing to Xingqiu on its own, what if we read it together with a previous poem we found?
Oh, sure.
Read them together? Let's see. Suiko lost Aoi no Okina's poem in a drunken stupor. So, Aoi no Okina recovered the poem and gave it to some mysterious person.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Could today's story be hinting that the one who stole the latest copies of A Legend of Sword is Xingqiu himself?
I mean...
No way! That can't be right! Xingqiu only arrived in Inazuma this morning!
He has people working for him,
That is
though.
precisely the point of suspicion. If Xingqiu had only just arrived in Inazuma, how could he recommend Shimura's chasuke?
Yeah, I was
Moreover,
surprised.
He didn't raise any questions when I suggested another place because of the windy weather. This means he knows that Shimura's is an open-air restaurant.
Well, you could have just
Are
taken
you
your word
saying
for
that
it.
Xingqiu has already been in
But-
Inazuma for some time? And that he's only
The other
pretending
one
he
could have just been
arrived?
reading a review or something.
Yes, that is indeed my conclusion.
But how could Xingqiu be the book thief? His mission is to fight for justice, isn't it? There's no way he'd do something against his own ideals.
I would tend to agree, but
Calm
he
down,
could be
Paimon.
extremely embarrassed
Even though
about
this
it.
is the first time I've met Xingqiu in person.
Probably not.
We've communicated via letters for some time now. I do have some understanding of his character. I think there must be some deeper motive at play here. The story also tells us that Aoi no Okina flees with a poem because of a threat.
Right.
Oh? Could Xingqiu be in danger?
I think he's just embarrassed, maybe.
It's difficult to say at this point. But given that Uyuu restaurant is indoors, it'll be easy for us to detect anyone following or eavesdropping on us. I think it should be safe for us to talk there. I'll be relying on your assistance to get to the bottom of this matter.
Sure.
Good.
Hey, a nice portrait
Then
of
let's
the
head to Uyuu
Miko in
restaurant.
the background there. On a banner. Ooh, lobster.
I don't see anyone suspicious around. It seems clear for the moment. Let's go inside and wait for Xingqiu.
Of course. You didn't bring Klee?
This whole thing's starting to make
Aw.
Paimon a little nervous. What do we do? And what do we talk about when Xingqiu gets
Paimon, relax.
First,
Let
we must
Albedo handle it.
ascertain whether Xingqiu was already in Inazuma or not. If we can find evidence of him deceiving us, then we can use it as leverage to persuade him to tell us the truth.
Right.
Since we're still waiting for him, why don't you go and chat with other guests in the restaurant and see if you can learn anything useful?
Sure.
Hello there. What can I get for you?
Oh.
Hi, do you have any special recommendations today?
Why, of course. I personally recommend our freshly caught seafood.
Of
It's
course.
been pouring these past 2 days, so the fishing boats haven't been able to sail at all. But the weather finally cleared up today, so we have some fresh catch.
Nice. What do
So
you
the
got?
weather at sea
What's
has
the
been
catch of the
bad
day?
These past few days?
It sure has. A few guests from Liyue were just telling me that their boat was heaving and rolling all the way here. They couldn't do anything but sleep the entire trip.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be some useful information.
How long of a trip is it?
The last phase of the Irodori Festival is when they release the all-new publications.
What
The one I'm really looking forward to is A Legend of Sword.
Of
That's
course.
right. A signed first edition is going to become quite the collectible. I've got to get my hands on a copy.
Damn
I've seen
straight.
Genyu's signature before. His handwriting is super neat. He must be really diligent about his style.
He is.
He'll be there in person on the day of the release, so we'll get a good look at him then. I hear that he's actually pretty young.
Yeah, he must be embarrassed.
Did you just hear that? Not only will Xingqiu be signing novels at the release, but his handwriting is super neat.
Was his handwriting not neat?
Albedo, what should we talk
I
about
don't
when
know.
Xingqiu
I feel like
gets
I remember
here?
something about that.
Any ideas?
His handwriting being a complete mess.
I will try to break the ice by talking about our work on novels and illustrations. If he really is hiding something, then he might feel even more nervous than we do. If we start by talking about our work creating novels, perhaps he will lower his guard.
Maybe.
Oh, come to think of it, Xingqiu mentioned that he'd like to thank you for finishing the illustrations on time. He said they looked amazing despite the time you had.
Maybe he doesn't
Is that
think
so?
your or his
That is also a very valuable clue.
work is worthy of your art.
That was delicious. Inazuman cuisine largely consists of fresh seafood, which
Yeah.
is certainly to my liking.
It's delicious.
That's good. We were worried you might not have an appetite because you didn't sleep well. Now's our chance. Let's talk to Xingqiu and see if he says anything useful.
You got it,
Maybe we
Paimon.
can start by asking him about the journey.
Yeah. See if he says anything contradictory.
Well, I've never embarked on such a long journey before. Though I was quite excited when we set off, the long days at sea quickly became most monotonous.
Yeah. How was the
Speaking of
weather?
Journey, did anything noteworthy happen along the way?
Well, to be honest, I spent most of the trip with my nose in a novel.
I mean,
That didn't tell us much.
yeah, I could see that even if everyone else was sleeping.
By the way, Xingqiu, what book were you reading on the way here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was reading a novel called Pretty Please Kitsune Guji.
Yes.
It was sent to me by my editor.
Nice.
Didn't you feel dizzy while reading on the ship?
I could see that.
It was nothing I couldn't handle. Don't forget, I'm proficient in the arts of the Guhua clan.
Fair.
That being said, there were quite a few people aboard who felt seasick.
Yeah.
Well, there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious about what he said so far.
No. But you whispering to me like that must seem suspicious to
To be
him.
honest, there wasn't much to see. Just water all around, morning to night.
Yeah.
The sheer monotony of the trip caused everyone to grow a little impatient. So, when the peak of Mount Yogo finally appeared in the distance as we approached the islands of Inazuma, everyone crowded the deck to have a look.
Oh, yeah?
However, the ship sailed along at a crawling pace. It took a whole day from the time we saw the mountain peak to the time we docked.
Paimon didn't catch anything suspicious so far.
There was something really suspicious?
If it took an entire day to reach the docks, then it would have been pouring rain at the time they saw the top of the mountain.
Oh, good catch,
We
Paimon
learned
and
a couple
Traveler.
of things from his account, but we still require more evidence. Let's discuss creating novels with Xingqiu.
Yeah. Let's talk about
While
your
it is
novels.
entertaining to read novels, writing one is an endeavor of its own.
No kidding. Very
You
different
must give
skill than
great thought
reading.
to every detail, from the layout of the plot to the rhythm of the lines. And even when you have come up with interesting content, there's still no guarantee that it will be to your liking.
Right.
I couldn't agree more.
Same with art.
Whether it's writing a book, creating art, or studying alchemy, seldom can you really feel joy after seriously delving into the work.
Xingqiu and Albedo are getting into some deep topics now. But nothing suspicious has come up.
Not yet. Yeah, let's talk about Albedo's illustrations.
Speaking of illustrations, Albedo, I've long wished to express my sincerest gratitude for providing the illustrations in my novel. My novel didn't sell well in Liyue, so I must admit that I had some reservations regarding its potential. Yet you've consistently managed to select the most important scene of the chapter for your illustrations. This made me feel as though what I was trying to express could be understood after all.
That's sweet.
Thank you. However, I took some risks in the illustrations, so I'm feeling slightly uneasy myself.
What kind of risks?
Light novel illustrations are typically centered around the characters.
Yeah.
But this time, I adopted a different approach in the illustration for the last chapter.
Not of the characters.
Well, that scene was intended to depict the change in the world, so I thought it very fitting to draw only scenery.
Oh.
Doesn't sound
Very
like
interesting
anything
choice.
suspicious has come up so far.
No, there was a crack in his alibi. My illustrations were sent for printing the moment they arrived in Inazuma. So, logically speaking, there's no way he could possibly know what the illustrations look like.
Didn't have to get
Xingqiu,
them approved?
We have something very
by the
important
author?
to ask you now.
Oh? Why the solemn looks all of a sudden?
What? The facade?
Huh?
Xingqiu?
I'm afraid I don't follow.
You know what we're talking about.
Okazaki told us earlier that actually the weather at sea was very bad these last few days. So when you said that everyone came running to the deck to see Mount Yogo, that couldn't have happened.
On top of that, the latest installment of A Legend of Sword will only be revealed at the Irodori Festival. Even we, the creators, haven't received a sample copy.
Surprising.
If that's the case, how could you know what my illustrations look like?
Didn't get I would think you'd have to okay the final work.
Jigs up, Xingqiu. You were already in Inazuma before today, weren't you? Are you in some kind of danger but can't tell us
Yeah,
the
no,
truth?
I think he's worried it won't do well.
The Traveler and Albedo are no pushovers. We can help you.
No, please. You misunderstand me. I suppose my lack of sleep is inevitably taking its toll on my mind. I didn't notice for a moment that you were testing me at all.
Well,
I
I
did
take
in
pride
fact
in
come
that,
to
I guess.
Inazuma early to handle some things. Let me consider how to explain this. Oh, this is most embarrassing.
Oh, well,
Hello,
if
Tone
this
Deaf
isn't
Bard.
a coincidence, I didn't expect to see everyone here.
Good to see you.
Tone Deaf Bard, what are you doing here?
You were also friends with Xingqiu, weren't you?
I heard that the owner of this establishment has some fine-aged wines.
Or maybe this is
I
where they
didn't want to
meet.
miss the opportunity to taste them.
Paimon knew you couldn't possibly be up to anything good.
Paimon, you're being
Says
too
who?
harsh.
In fact, I come as the bearer
There's
of
nothing
good
wrong with
tidings.
enjoying good drink.
I just bumped into Kujo Sara a moment ago. She said that the Tenryou Commission has apprehended the criminal who stole all those copies
Oh.
of A Legend of Sword. You needn't worry about it any longer.
Nice.
The criminal who stole A Legend of Sword?
Did I say something I shouldn't have?
You did.
Oh no. The person they apprehended. Was it by chance an editor named Onodera?
Oh.
Apologies, Kujo Sara didn't mention
Onodera.
her name. But I saw her taking someone
Yeah,
toward
he was
Hanamizaki.
he was feeling all he was looking all nervous before. Yeah. Completely forgot about him.
Everyone, it's too late to explain. We must make haste and rescue Onodera.
Aw. You put him up to something, didn't
Please,
you?
wait. Onodera is innocent.
Oh, so you must be the author of A Legend of Sword. I didn't expect to see others tagging along with you.
Anyway, you mustn't take him away. I can explain everything.
Please do.
No need to worry, Xingqiu. I've just explained everything to Madame Kujo, and Kuroda has testified for me.
Oh?
Yes. In fact, we were just getting ready to leave.
Oh, good.
Oh, phew. What a relief.
Can you still explain
Wait
it
a minute.
anyways?
Does everyone else here already know?
What about the theft?
Well, to be precise, we had dispatched 2 additional squads here, in order to prevent the suspect from escaping.
You've caused a bit of a
Xingqiu
scene,
looks pretty
Xingqiu.
flustered. What exactly is going on here?
Yeah, but it has something to do with his signature. Oh, yeah.
Though it's most embarrassing, it appears quite a few people are aware of the situation now. There's no use keeping it a secret.
Wait.
In the end,
Was it so they could get the copies autographed ahead of time?
I'm the one responsible for this whole predicament.
No, Xingqiu. It's only appropriate that I take responsibility for this. Everyone, please let me explain.
Please.
For the Irodori Festival, I recommended the idea of selling newly released novels signed by the authors. Not
Yeah.
only was this the first major project I was in charge of since joining the Yae publishing house, but Lady Yae also gave me a lot of support. However, I did not discuss our plans with the authors in advance.
Yeah, bad idea.
As a result, it caused a great deal of trouble for Xingqiu.
Yes, to be frank, calligraphy is not my strong point. So signing events are really not my forte.
Even though such an event will be difficult for Xingqiu, after telling him how important the plans were to me, he immediately boarded a ship to Inazuma to come up with a solution.
Yeah, sweet.
So these past few days, Xingqiu has been actively practicing his handwriting.
Oh.
However, it takes time to sign each book, and we realized the time we reserved for the signing was not nearly enough. So I came up with the idea of moving the new books from the warehouse to my place. That way, Xingqiu could use these few days to sign them all.
Why couldn't you just
I
say
thought everything
that?
would work out without a hitch. I never expected that someone would immediately realize that the books were missing from the warehouse. To make things
Why
worse,
didn't you
I was on
just say
vacation
you were
and
gonna
staying
do
with
that,
Xingqiu
Ted?
in my house these past few days. I had no idea that the situation had turned into such a huge mess.
Yeah.
All of this happened because I wanted to prove myself through this event.
Just talk to your,
Onodera,
you know,
I agreed to your
fellow
proposal
editors and
because I didn't want the
what's his
readers to
name?
know of my unsightly handwriting.
Aw.
Also, I knew that Onodera had been misled by one of my prior signatures. At a previous event, the Yae publishing house had requested autographs of authors so that they could be put on display. I practiced tirelessly for an entire day to finally deliver a stylish and elegant signature for the event.
I appreciate the level of
Looking back
dedication,
on it
Xingqiu.
now, I had dug myself into a hole by delivering that nice signature for the sake of my pride.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, you two. Loosen up a little. The
Nothing
theft was
wrong with
nothing more
the
than
messy
a simple
signature.
misunderstanding. Besides, everyone has something they do not wish others to see.
Yeah, that's right. All that matters is that Xingqiu and his books are okay.
Yeah.
Onodera, I think you should explain the truth regarding the stolen books to the rest of the people on Rito.
Yes,
Well,
I
no,
understand.
it doesn't need to be everyone.
I'll apologize to
At
everyone.
least the publishing house people,
We'll
though.
be heading back to Rito as well.
I mean, most of the people on Rito wouldn't have even known this was a thing. Yeah.
Onodera,
Hirayama.
what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be on leave these few days?
These are the people you should have talked about this with. Honestly, don't know why you didn't.
I'm very sorry for all the trouble that I've caused.
Yes, Onodera, but why didn't you tell everyone earlier?
Seriously.
If you had told us, we could have thought of some ways to help you.
That's right.
Very
We're a
silly,
team,
Onodera.
And we should be helping each other in tough situations like this.
Let's leave the past behind us now. Our first priority is to help Xingqiu with his signatures. How is your progress so far?
My progress is not what I had hoped for. Even after working through the night these past few days, I've only finished perhaps 1/10 of the signatures.
Oh no.
Oh, no wonder Xingqiu looked so sleepy today.
Damn. There's no way we're gonna get
I understand.
through all of them at that rate.
Murata, go back to Yae Publishing House and get Aratani to book a room on the second floor of the Uyuu restaurant. We'll be using it for Xingqiu's emergency calligraphy lessons.
Yes, Mr. Hirayama. It just so happens that my brother is a calligrapher.
Oh.
Should I ask him to lend his assistance as well?
Yes, good idea. Ah,
Should I ask him to lend...
Oh, yeah, that's the Lady Guji light novel back
his
there. Look
assistance
at.
as well?
yes, good idea. Ah, you've just reminded me. 2 calligraphers from Liyue arrived today.
That
We've
they
worked with
did.
them before, so I'll go and ask them to help out too.
It seems I'm really in for it now.
No need to worry, Xingqiu. I'm sure you can do it. Didn't you finish the last chapter of your novel in just 1 week's time?
Yeah, but that's writing, not calligraphy.
Yes, but writing novels and learning calligraphy are two entirely different skills.
Yeah.
Even though Xingqiu still has to deal with his handwriting issue, Paimon somehow feels a little relieved now.
Well,
I always used to prefer working alone in my workshop, but I've come to realize that solving problems with others also has its merits.
We also owe a
That's
special
good.
ode of gratitude to the mysterious person who has
Albedo's
been
a little
leaving
less of
important
a
info for us along the
loner.
way.
Huh? You mean whoever left behind those stories about the 5 Kasen?
Yeah.
Pardon me, but what are you talking about?
Yeah, we told a little fib there.
Oh, right. We haven't had a chance to explain things to
You're still
Xingqiu
going to be
yet.
the inspiration for the second story, but for the second painting, but
I see. It appears that Onodera and I were spotted when we were moving the books. Albedo,
I wonder who's
may I
leaving
ask
them.
you one thing? Are you able to include me in a portrait as well? Not only do I owe the successful resolution of today's incident to that story, but I also hope that I'll remember this lesson.
Well,
No
Albedo.
problem. Considering the similarities between the portraits and the events that have taken place, your proposal is very reasonable.
Yeah. And whoever comes up next is going to be the third portrait's
That
inspiration.
figure was
It's
none
a
other
nice
than
monocle.
Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
Isn't it your own poem, though? Still doesn't quite make sense.
Albedo
Yeah,
really
maybe it'll
is
become
something.
clearer with the other
He finished
stories.
the portrait of Aoi no Okina in no time at all.
Yeah, that's
Wonder how Xingqiu's calligraphy training is
incredibly
going at Uyuu restaurant.
well. It's incredible.
Hey, do you think whoever left those stories for us could be hiding somewhere nearby?
It's a distinct possibility. Observing us.
Oh, hello? Mr. Story Writer? Are you here?
Oh,
could you
hey,
please
I
help
or
Xingqiu
A.
with something? He's a friend of ours, and the release of his new book is super important to him.
Aw.
What's that sound?
Yeah. Kitty?
It was just a cat. Looks like we can't make them reveal themselves that easily.
No.
It's getting late now.
Is it the
Let's get
cat?
back and get some rest.
Or someone hiding behind the
We'll have
cat?
to go to the docks and wait for another ship tomorrow morning.
Who was it?
Look, that figure on the water.
Ah!
It looks like Kazuha.
Of course it's Kazuha. Why wouldn't he be here? Should have put that together. Hey, Kazuha.
Greetings, traveler in Paimon. I heard
Greetings.
there would be guides for the Irodori Festival, but I didn't expect it would be you two.
Well, it is good to see you again.
We didn't expect to see you either. Returning as a guest for the Irodori Festival, no doubt.
I was a little surprised myself when I received the invitation.
Yeah.
But after wandering the outside world
I guess
for so long,
all is
it's good to
forgiven.
have an opportunity to return to my homeland and pay respects to my old friends.
Kazuha, when we saw you in the distance just now, you seemed to be looking for something. What happened?
Inspiration? Poetry? Did you find a page?
Yes. You see, when I came off the boat with everyone just now, I suddenly heard light footsteps around me.
Ah.
I could tell they were not footsteps of a regular passenger.
Must be the one.
But by the time I turned around, the person had already disappeared.
Yeah.
I only heard a splash come from below the pier. Even though I didn't manage to catch a glimpse of them, I found this strange piece of paper by my feet.
Excellent. 3 out of 5, or out of 4.
Have a poem written on it?
These haven't been very
How
poetic,
did
but
you know?
more just extremely short stories.
Fascinating. It's almost hard to believe such things could happen.
Yeah.
Sure, here it is. Please, have a look.
Oh, okay. Let's see. The 5 Kasen's Splendor, Akihito. Long have I been famed, and since my youth I had great ambition. I stamped every new verse with a scarlet seal, and thus was I known to all. Last year, when we presented our verses, mine was found to be taken from from poets past. Ah, you were plagiarizing, were you? For the theft and deception, I was banished into the wilderness. The 5 radiant lights shall never be again. Ah, how the tides do shift. Okay. Maybe he could be the culprit?
Okina's poem ended with a reference to Akihito. And sure enough, this is a story about him. The story this time basically says that Akihito got his name from his love of red seals.
Yeah, that's one of the
the Shogun discovered
ideas, though.
that he had committed plagiarism, and he was soon exiled.
I mean, that's a plagiarism sucks. That's a pretty harsh,
It sounds pretty unfortunate.
pretty harsh sentence. Well, the other stories weren't much better either.
I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this story. I too was once wanted as a criminal by the shogunate. So I'm not all that different from Akihito mentioned in this story.
Yeah, you make a good reference.
Exiled by the Shogun because of his wrongdoings. You did nothing wrong.
I mean, even then it was still a bit of a
Traveler, what are you thinking about?
seal mentioned in the story. Maybe he can help Xingqiu.
By the way, you mentioned that your friend has been struggling because he's unable to sign his name quickly, right?
Yeah.
In Liyue and Inazuma, there is a saying, that which has been stamped has also been signed.
Oh.
Perhaps using a seal could be a feasible solution.
Not a bad idea.
While sailing at sea.
In fact, actually, I think real people who have to do a lot of signatures oftentimes will get their signature converted into a stamp, I think. And then only actually sign for, like, ceremonial purposes or whatever.
I sometimes carve things to pass the time. If you wish to create a stamp for his seal, I might be able to help.
Wonderful, Kazuha. Yeah, no, plagiarism, exile for plagiarism is a bit much.
Quick, let's go tell Albedo. Albedo, we figured out a way to help Xingqiu.
Interesting. A story of the 5 Kasen appears again, and with a timely solution.
Yeah.
Stamped seal, huh? Let me think. Indeed, it is an efficient solution. If we use a stamp, then Xingqiu won't have to struggle with his handwriting anymore.
Yeah.
However...
Well, what's the problem?
Since Xingqiu's signature has been previously revealed to the readers, it would seem insincere if he only used the stamped seal for his new books.
Well, you'd have to
But
make the stamp
I have
out of his
another
actual
idea.
signature.
Using a seal is a part of it, of course. Let's go to Uyuu restaurant now to discuss my idea with everyone.
Yes, that's it, Genshin. Your writing has greatly improved today, which means yesterday's intensive training was effective.
Oh
My
no.
apologies, but I simply can't do it anymore. My
Yeah.
hands are so sore that I can't even move them anymore.
Writing that
I
much.
should have known better than to read novels during calligraphy class.
Oh.
You just had a 10-minute break. Come on, you can do this.
You're gonna give him some, like, carpal
When it
tunnel or
comes to pushing
something.
a deadline, there's no one more brutal than Mr. Hirayama.
No wonder Lady Yai would always send the editorial director to handle troublesome authors.
Whoa, this is getting scary. It hasn't even been that long, and Xingqiu's already zombified.
Are those all the copies he needs to sign, or?
Mr. Hirayama,
There's only a
we
few
found
dozen
a solution
there.
that might just solve our dilemma. In both Liyue and Inazuma, seals are widely used as the equivalents of a signature. If we use a stamp to leave the author's seal on the books, then we could make the signature process a lot easier.
Yeah.
Of course, a seal on its own is not enough. So, I propose that each signature consists of 2 parts.
Okay.
First, we'll use a personalized seal. We can simply carve one using Xingqiu's signature as the design.
Yeah,
In
that's
addition,
what I thought.
I'll also design a simple but elegant pattern that's easy for Xingqiu to write. That way, he will only need to draw a simple pattern on each book.
Good idea.
Let me think. All right, I think that would work. Not only does it still involve the author's own handwriting, but the result should be very beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So, what you mean
I mean,
to
the
say is,
seal
I've been saved from this predicament?
You have, but
Mr.
you should
Hirayama,
you should
it
still work
suddenly
on your
occurred to me that
handwriting.
The reason we gave up on live book signings previously was because it would take too long for the author to sign each book.
Careful here,
But if
Onodera.
we adopted Calx's proposed method, we might have enough time to do signatures at the live event.
You should
And if all the authors signed
verify
their
how
books in the
long
same
it takes him to
fashion,
write this new
then Genyu's
signature.
signature wouldn't look out of place.
Well, if you think it's feasible, I would certainly be happy to design signatures for the other authors as well.
Yes, and you may leave carving the stamps to me.
Wonderful.
In that case, I shall contact the other 2 authors participating
But
in the
yeah,
new release
it's
event.
still even the stamp still uses his handwriting. Just, you know,
It is
captured.
a great honor to use a signature designed by Calx.
Oh, Satomi, we met you before.
My pen name is quite complicated and isn't suitable for signing events.
Katanokoji Kenzaburo. Okay.
However, if we implement this new format, then it'll be a dream come true for me as well.
Yeah, that would be a bit tough to write over and over.
I'm sorry to have kept you busy for so long, Xingqiu. Please, take the next few days to have a good rest. We'll handle everything from here. The books that Xingqiu already signed can be used as special prizes in future events held by the I Publishing House.
We did it. The event is saved.
Wonderful. Well,
Thanks to everyone's efforts,
everything's wrapping
Onodera
up
and I
nicely.
are finally free of that mess.
That's right! You're finally free, Xingqiu! Maybe you should step outside for some fresh air.
Yeah. Take a little moment to yourself.
We still have some time to burn. Where should we go next?
Dinner? Or did we eat at the Uyuu restaurant? Venti! Ayaka! Hey! How are you? What are you doing with the old tone deaf bard here?
And Venti! That's an interesting combo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
I was just going to
Paimon.
the festival venue to prepare the Ikebana lesson when I found a
Ikebana.
strange piece of paper on a flower stand.
Oh, another one
This bar
already.
just happened to be close by at the time.
I was thinking it would have to wait
He
another
informed me that
day.
You've also found similar papers recently. As such, we came together to find you two.
But
Wonderful.
the paper she found isn't quite the same as the ones we found before.
No?
Here's the paper. Please have a look.
The 5 Kaizen Splendors, Sumi-zome. I mean, I guess it's shorter. I submerged the verses into clear water, and the truth did emerge. Ooh. Very interesting. Anyone have a body of water nearby? Something clean? Maybe a well?
Huh. All the poems we found before were roughly the same length. But this one is only 2 lines.
We'll pay attention to the line,
Even though there are
Paimon.
only 2 short sentences, neither of them are next to the title or centered on the page.
Ooh, even more interesting.
The position of the
Yeah.
writing seems to indicate that there is other content written on this paper besides these 2 lines.
Oh yeah, and the hint is
If we
in
take
what's
the poem
written.
literally, it reads, "Dip this paper in water and see the truth naturally appear."
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have an ancient text at home, specializing in ancient and exotic stories. It mentions a special ink that will show itself when wet and disappear when it's dry.
So,
Nice.
shall we give it a whirl? It just so happens that
Special
there's a
inks
pond
like that.
nearby.
Disappearing inks are cool. Carefully dip it into water. Don't make the paper disintegrate or rip it or anything.
It's really working! More words have appeared on the paper! Let Paimon see what it says.
Let's see. Going over his poetry, I found that the plagiarized piece did not have his scarlet seal. Oh. I submerged the verses into clear water, and the truth did emerge. The true verses were not washed away, but the text of that despicable crime faded. Ioi no Okina passed me by, just as he was writing a verse for Akihito. One storm had yet to settle, and it was already time to write new poems. Trying to remember the previous stories. So a paper from Ioi was ripped out. And then the person who presented it was drunk, you know, when the page got ripped out, I suppose. And then Ioi was caught for... No, Akihito was caught for plagiarism. I forget what Ioi was doing. Did he pass off the page to someone else? Maybe they'll put it all together for us eventually.
Story says that after Sumi-zome got the collection of poems from Akihito and put them into a stream of water, the plagiarized words in the poem became blurry. Huh? Why would that happen?
Someone was messing with someone.
You see, Paimon, in the past, when printing was not yet well developed, handwritten text could easily become smudged in books when exposed to moisture.
Yeah.
To ensure the text lasted longer, they'd either write using a special ink or coat the paper's surface with a waterproof coating once the writing was finished.
Nice.
Such special inks are time-consuming and laborious to produce, and the waterproof coating could also prove just as difficult.
You think they skimped out on it?
Since Akihito's poetry collection was an important gift to be presented to the Shogun, surely one of those two methods was used to protect it.
You'd think.
But as for the plagiarized poems, not only would they lack Akihito's seal, but the words would also react differently when exposed to liquid.
So this poem wasn't written by Akihito.
Which means Akihito didn't plagiarize his work. He was set up.
Oh, hey.
Yes, it appears that this is the
Kazuha's an even
Sumi-zome's
better
story is trying to
representative of
convey.
this Akihito than we thought.
Although the story is saddening, I've decided on the subjects to use for Akihito and Sumi-zome's portraits. Kazuha, Ayaka, would you be willing to be the models for my paintings?
Perfect.
I would be delighted.
So who's been pulling the strings
There you go.
so far?
The next two portraits should be ready in no time.
Yes. And now that all 4 stories have all been collected, the story of the 5 Kasen is now fully completed.
Well, there is the 5th Kasen, though.
Long ago, Inazuma had 5
Here we go.
legendary poets. People bestowed upon them the title of the 5 Kasen.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and
Yeah.
Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty.
Aw.
He admitted to drinking at the tavern the
You
night
weren't
before,
guilty, though.
and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
That figure was none other than
Yeah.
Aoi no Okina
That's
himself.
about what
This
I had
turn of
thought, I
events
think,
had begun
originally.
with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akihito.
Akihito had once belonged to the 5 Kasen. Each poem he composed, he marked with a scarlet red seal, hence the Aka in his name. Such a distinguished writer was he, and yet one of the poems he had submitted the previous year was found to be plagiarized. Akihito was exiled for his crimes, and only 4 of the 5 Kasen remained.
Sumi-zome went over Akihito's poems and noticed that the plagiarized poem lacked his seal.
Yeah.
She immersed his poetry in a stream nearby, and only on the plagiarized poem did the ink run. Aoi no Okina passed by and witnessed Sumi-zome's doing, which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Suiko's poetry submission, and this is where the story comes to
Wait,
an
why
end.
did they rip it out then, though? Like, Ioi's poem. Why did Ioi's poem get ripped out? I think I'm missing something here. Because Akihito's the one who's had been plagiarized. Ioi retrieves. Yeah.
Turn of
Ioi
events had begun with
retrieves
an unnamed individual.
his own. He rips out his own poem from the journal and passes it
Under whose
off to
coercion,
someone else.
Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry.
Yeah. His own page of poetry. I don't think we know who that figure is.
He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance.
Oh, the poem that he got stolen was the one he had written about Sumi-zome.
Akahito.
Akahito, with the statistic, was found to be only.
I went over a plagiarism and witnessed Sumi-zome's doing.
I see.
Which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Seiko's poetry
that makes more sense. I get it now.
And this is where the story comes to an end.
Though we don't know who that mysterious figure was.
Make sure you get in line early to buy your special edition drinks.
Beautiful. Make a great model there, Ayaka. And you too, Kazuha. And you're an excellent artist as always, Albedo. What, Paimon? What's the matter?
Yeah. Ever since we completed the story of the 5 Kasen, there's still one thing Paimon hasn't been able to figure out.
Who the...
One of the 5 Kasen is called Kuronushi, right?
Yeah.
It's just that...
Probably the mysterious figure.
The story of the 5 Kasen finished without him appearing at all.
I think he did.
Have you really not noticed?
The mysterious figure.
Not noticed what? This is no time to be playing games, Tone Deaf Bard.
What he means is that the story of Kuronushi was already embedded within the 4 poems.
Right.
Huh? Really?
That's right. The key lies in the poem that Aoi no Okina wrote after seeing Sumi-zome rinsing the poetry collection. An average person could never understand the scene of a young girl washing Akahito's poetry collection in a stream.
I suppose not.
Even Aoi no Okina couldn't figure out the meaning behind Sumi-zome's actions. He was simply reminiscing and thinking about his old acquaintances.
Right.
However, for the perpetrator who framed Akahito, it was completely obvious. He was worried that if this poem was seen by the Shogun,
wait, do you think
then
Kuro
the Shogun could discover
is the one who
truth behind the
framed
plagiarism
Akahito for
incident.
some reason?
If that happened, then he'd be finished. So, in desperation, he threatened Aoi no Okina to make him tear out this poem.
Oh, yeah.
The one who threatened
That
Aoi no
motivation
Okina
makes sense
is
now.
the same person that framed Akahito.
Culprit is none other than Kuronushi.
What? Kuronushi?
Yep.
That's right. Though there are only 4 poems, they still managed to tell the complete story of all 5 Kasen.
Yeah,
Since the
it's actually
Shogun
kind of cool.
mentioned in the poems is certainly not the one of the 5 Kasen, the only character left is the mysterious one with an unknown identity.
Right. Which is what I thought, yeah.
Okay. Paimon is finally starting to get it now.
Good job, Paimon.
However, this also brings something else to mind. The story of the 5 Kasen has more or less reflected everything that's been happening around us lately.
So who's Kuronushi?
Which begs the question, is there a Kuronushi in our world as well?
An excellent question.
Kuronushi? In our world?
Yai Miko?
Speaking of which, I wonder if our dear Kazuha has come up with anything.
Oh, right! Kazuha! He's been pretty quiet this whole time. Let's ask him.
He is quite ponderous.
Hey, Kazuha! Are you
He's good at
okay?
putting these things together, I think.
Standing in front of this blank canvas for a while, and you don't look so good.
Apologies for making a wild assumption, but has the story of the 5 Kasen reminded you of anything?
Yes. A few things did come to mind, actually. However, they were nothing more than some past incidents regarding my family.
Well, do tell
I don't mind
if you're
sharing
willing.
the stories, but I'd prefer not to bring you any more trouble.
It's okay.
Hey, we're all friends here, Kazuha. You can always tell us whatever's on your mind.
Kaidehara, please forgive my assumption, but perhaps you were thinking of the Raiden Gokuden?
The Raiden Gokuden.
What's that?
Sounds familiar. I've heard that word
It
before.
appears that Miss Kamisato and I were thinking of the same thing.
Gokuden.
But it also has much to do with the Yashiro Commission. It would be improper to speak of it here without the consent of Miss Kamisato.
It's fine. Those of us here are all trustworthy, so there isn't any harm in it.
Wonderful.
However, this matter is somewhat complicated and may be difficult to explain. Let me start with the Raiden Gokuden.
Thank you.
As you all know, the Yashiro Commission's primary purpose is managing ceremonial and cultural affairs.
Right.
And Inazuma's art of forging swords is a very important part of our culture.
Right.
The Raiden Gokuden were once the top 5 schools of the forging art in Inazuma.
Oh.
Although these families were swordsmiths by craft, they also held many important positions in the Yashiro Commission.
Wasn't his family one of them?
Unfortunately, of the 5, only the Aminoma art still maintains its artisan lineage. The descendants of the Ishin art are also still alive, but the craft has been lost to time. The descendants of the Ishin art are none other than the Kaide.
I think I heard about the Gokuden when we were on the, the archipelago.
From a noble family, but we had no idea about his connection to the Yashiro Commission and sword making.
Yes, but that's all part of the past now. The Ishin art was lost with my great-grandfather's generation.
Right.
My grandfather was dissatisfied with my great-grandfather's lack of effort. When he was young, my grandfather traveled all over Teyvat to find a way to revive the family business. But it was to no avail.
It's kind of a
And
shame.
in my generation, our last remaining family property was lost as well.
I heard my elder brother mention
Nothing
that the
was written
decline
down.
of the Raiden Gokuden happened very rapidly. In the span of a few decades, 3 of the families suffered various misfortunes and disappeared completely.
Yeah, I remember
Later,
that.
there was speculation that all of these misfortunes stemmed from some background machinations, meaning that someone wanted to wipe out the Raiden Gokuden.
Which is what
However,
caused
since
Kazuha
not
to have to
every
flee,
family of
too.
the Raiden Gokuden came to ruin, such explanations were treated as nothing more than a conspiracy theory.
Indeed. I've also believed such ideas were just theories and rumors. However, I know that a major incident happened to my great-grandfather when he was young.
Yeah.
Not only did it affect the Kaedahara clan, but it nearly jeopardized the Kamisato clan's position in the Yashiro Commission as well.
Oh, man.
After reading the story of the 5 Kasen, I can't help but feel like it's pointing me toward the truth behind that incident.
Yeah.
What exactly happened to your great-grandfather, Kazuha?
Someone's trying to make
I
things
still
right?
can't say.
I don't know.
I need to speak with someone to verify the details. Let's meet here again at noon tomorrow.
Sure
I
thing.
will tell you everything I know then.
Following afternoon.
Ah, you're here. It appears everyone has arrived.
How did your investigation go, Kazuha?
Last night, I visited a former servant who once worked for my family. I was able to learn the entirety of what happened all those years ago.
Excellent.
In my great-grandfather's generation, the Ishin art was tasked with forging an important Goshinto according to an ancient forging diagram.
Assuming that's some kind of weapon.
Though all the craftsmen involved were very experienced, the process was still unsuccessful. Every blade that was forged was defective. When the deadline came, the blade still wasn't finished. So the craftsmen all fled and hid for fear of punishment.
Damn.
The Kaedahara clan and Yashiro Commission then conducted an investigation. My great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan eventually tracked down the craftsmen near the seaside. However, they met fierce resistance from the craftsmen, and in the end they were unable to prevent them from escaping by sea. The Kaedahara clan was severely punished for the swordsmiths that had escaped, and
Yeah.
the family gradually fell into decline. Moreover,
We are a little
I heard
aware
that
of
the head
now.
of the Kamisato clan was injured by the fleeing swordsmiths.
Oh.
Which, combined with his advanced age, caused him to pass away shortly thereafter.
That's too bad.
Yes. The sudden passing of the family head left the Kamisato clan leaderless. Treacherous people took advantage of the situation and put the family's status in the Yashiro Commission at jeopardy. This single incident had profound effects. Even after the position as head of the clan was passed to my father, the Kamisato clan still wasn't able to regain its prior reputation.
Yeah.
But, thanks to my brother, everything is getting better now.
Right, he's done a
The
fantastic job.
failure to forge the blade was ultimately attributed to a lack of required skill and finesse. The Kaedahara clan and the Yashiro Commission always believed that was the case.
You think it was sabotage?
However, the story of the 5 Kasen seems to imply that the failure didn't stem from a lack of skill, but rather, the diagram had been tampered with by someone. Miss Kamisato, I heard yesterday that the Yashiro Commission has still kept the diagram ever since the failed forging all those years ago.
Would you like us to take
Might
a look?
I ask you to do me a favor?
Or dip it in some water?
Yes, I understand. I will go back and search for the diagram. Please come meet me at the Kamisato
Is this the
estate
original
later.
or a copy? Because if it's the original...
Everyone, I've managed to find the old diagram.
Though the diagram is well preserved, you can still tell that it's seen at least 3 or 4 centuries of
Really?
history.
Didn't they say it was great-grandfather?
That's pretty old.
That's a bit less than 3 to 4 centuries.
At this point, we can only try our luck and see how we fare.
Into a basin of water. Ooh. Nice. So it is just a sword then. Okay. But a special sword of some kind.
Although the effect is not too obvious, you can still see that some words have now started to smudge. Kazuha,
Right.
this is clear evidence that this chart was indeed tampered with. Someone framed the Kaedahara clan all those years ago.
I'm so sorry, Kazuha.
I see. But I fear that I've discovered this secret too late.
Yeah.
When my grandfather was young, he proposed reviving the Ishin art many times to my great-grandfather. But my grandfather was only scolded for being too foolhardy.
Or
Yesterday,
maybe...
the former family servant said that my great-grandfather even went to the Yashiro Commission to request that diagram from the head of the Kamisato clan. He then showed that diagram to my grandfather and asked him and his subordinates to try to forge the sword.
I'm wondering if maybe I mistook something and the great-grandfather wasn't the one who actually had tried to forge it. That would make the timeline match up a little better, at least.
Sure enough, my grandfather also failed. My great-grandfather then told him, if you can't find the secret within, then the Ishin art deserves to fade from the world.
No.
My grandfather left Inazuma in a rage after hearing those words. He didn't ever see my great-grandfather again, even till the day of his passing. Looking back at it now, the argument between the two of them was simply meaningless.
Oh, man, yeah. It's a
I
tragic
heard
family
that your
history.
great-grandfather was very industrious when he was young. But later in life, he no longer bothered with the forging arts. It appears that his failure took quite a toll on him.
Okay, so it was him who
Kazuha,
failed. Maybe
did
the
your
diagram is
great-grandfather
just
really
older
say,
than that?
If you can't find the secret within. Did he use those exact words?
Yes. The servant said that he personally heard those words, and still remembers them very clearly. My grandfather was so angry at the time that he smashed my great-grandfather's cherished bonsai tree.
I remember that, I think, from the,
Yes,
the
it appears that you
archipelago.
understand my meaning. Kazuha, if your great-grandfather thought that the Ishin art lacked finesse, then after witnessing his son's failure, wouldn't he have said something more along the lines of, your skills aren't sufficient?
Yeah, he knew.
But instead he said, if you can't find the secret within. Don't you find that a little strange?
It is very strange.
Huh? Oh, so you're saying my great-grandfather may have very well known that the failure was due to someone's tampering?
Maybe.
Yes. The current evidence suggests that is highly likely.
I agree.
I apologize, but would you all please accompany me to the Tenryou Commission?
To see Sarah?
After I became a wanted criminal, the Tenryou Commission seized my family's last remaining estate, which contained all of my family's old belongings.
Do you think they're still there?
I want to inquire about the whereabouts of those belongings.
I wonder if I've ever
If I
seen
can
your
find
estate.
them, we might be able to get some
somewhere on
clues.
these islands.
Alright, let's get moving.
Hello there, Kujo Sara.
What are you all doing here? Did something happen on Rito?
No, nothing. Nothing important. Just
Kujo Sara. Perhaps you still remember me.
the man who blocked
Yes,
the
I do. You're
Shogun's
Kaedehara Kazuha, a wanted
sword.
criminal during the Vision Hunt decree.
Yeah,
However, your arrest warrant has since been repealed.
good.
Sara, we'd like to ask about the Kaedehara clan's property that was seized by the Tenryou Commission. Do you know where all their belongings are now?
I mean, that was ages
Yes,
ago, right?
The items seized at that time are currently stored in the warehouse next to the police station.
Oh,
Since Kaedehara has come back to Inazuma, those items should be returned to their rightful
good.
owner.
Nice.
No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. I'm not here to reclaim those belongings.
Well,
I just want to investigate them for a personal matter.
you don't want. I,
I
guess
see.
you're still sent on
All right, I'll
the
inform
path
the
of a
police
wanderer.
station. They'll take
the
you into the
Ronin.
warehouse.
Thank you, Sara.
Kaedehara, about the Vision Hunt decree.
Yes.
That's all in the past now, Kujo Sara. There's no need to mention it again. I know you've also had your own convictions and struggles.
Yeah.
However, may I ask something of you?
Shoot.
Yes? What is it?
Currently, I have no plans to stay in Inazuma. As a result, those items from my family's estate are of no use to me.
Right.
Madam Kujo, I believe you are a person of integrity. After our investigation is over, I'd like to ask if you can handle those belongings for me. Please, sell them, and use the money to help the poor.
I love you,
Right.
Kazuha.
I understand.
You're
I'll be
such
sure to take care of it.
such a good soul.
I've already informed the police station. There'll be someone to take you into the warehouse, so you may head there directly.
Wonderful.
As for all the belongings left by the Kaedehara clan, I will deal with them promptly.
You must be here to investigate the Kaedehara clan's belongings. Well, Madame Kujo's already informed me.
Kind of
the
wonder what you
situation.
wanted to say about
Please
the Vision
come this
Hunt
way.
decree.
The Kaedehara clan's belongings are stored in this warehouse. Unfortunately, the items are scattered throughout in order to save space. My deepest apologies. However, I have clearly marked the corresponding items, so they shouldn't be too difficult to find.
This doesn't have a
I'll be
bunch of
waiting for you at
monsters
the
or
door.
traps
Please
in it,
come
does
see me
it?
if you require any assistance.
Kazuha, since the items are scattered throughout the building, I propose we split up and look for clues.
Yes.
Zoinks.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks for your help, everyone. I'll be checking around here. You and the others can start looking elsewhere.
Sure. Though you know.
What did you find, Xingqiu?
I found
for more
quite the
than
pile
us.
of old books. These books here are all related to smelting steel.
Oh.
And these are about the process of forging blades. This pile over
very
here is
cool.
all about plants and flowers.
The books about plants and flowers must have belonged to Kazuha's great-grandfather.
Yeah, probably. Any clues, maybe?
I skimmed through them just now, but I didn't find anything particularly worth noting. I shall take a closer look and let you know if I find anything.
No. You do that. Hello, Ayaka. How you doing?
Oh, it's you. I'm currently investigating the sword rack.
Anything interesting?
Oh, since the Kaedehara clan was a family of renowned swordsmiths, then this blade should be super valuable, right? Maybe it's a treasure of the Ishin art!
I'm afraid not.
Yeah.
Although the sword rack is made of fine wood, the swords placed here appear to be quite ordinary. Due to the dire financial situation of the late Kaedehara clan, everything of value has probably been sold off already.
I have to imagine all the
blade on
Gokuden
sword hasn't been
blades
sharpened, but there are many signs of use
are
on the hilt.
just
Perhaps
monstrously
Kaedehara used it for
expensive and
training its
valuable by
child.
now. All the remaining surviving ones.
There seems to be a couple uneven characters etched into the scabbard. Kazuha.
Aw,
Wow, so it really was Kazuha's!
that's adorable.
Paimon can imagine what what Kazuha was like as a kid.
He must be so precious.
I will continue investigating here and call you if I find anything interesting.
His life is sad, but led him to a good place, I think. A content
Do you
place.
see all these pots here? Some of them are bound to have liquor inside, right?
At one point. It would have long since evaporated.
I merely jest, of course. Come on, we're close to uncovering the truth now. Why do you look so worried?
Well, Paimon doesn't really get why Kazuha told Sara to sell all these belongings.
Well, severing the past.
What if we don't end up finding anything today? Then wouldn't Kazuha lose the chance of finding out what really happened all those years ago?
I mean,
You know, just saying.
maybe
I
it's,
know you're worried about Kazuha, but if you ask me, he is stronger than you think.
Yeah, I think so
Since
too.
Kazuha made such a request to Sara, that indicates he's already made his choice.
Yeah, severing
Whether
the
we
past.
find out the truth or not today, or whatever it turns out to be, he's ready to accept it.
He's content in life, even though his
No,
current place
not
is
intuition. Rather,
born of
I've
tragedy.
lived for a long time now, so you could say I have some experience in reading people.
Yeah,
Leave the things here to me. You two can look around elsewhere.
Venti is quite old.
Oh,
I imagine all the Archons are, well,
unfortunately, I have yet
actually,
to find anything of value
maybe not
here.
the Shogun are good at reading people.
His folding screen looks
I think
pretty
Zhongli
old,
probably
though.
is too, though.
Yes, perhaps if it were better maintained, then it could fetch a decent price. However, I doubt it could be sold in its current condition. I
Damn.
was taking a closer look just now and noticed a large piece of dirt caught in the fabric fibers on the back side.
Yeah?
The soil is deeply embedded into the cloth. That means a great deal of force was used when the dirt was lodged into the cloth. It's likely that this patch of dirt is from the very flower pot thrown by Kazuha's grandfather.
Huh. That's interesting.
Because this is not what we're looking for now. Let me think. If I wanted to leave a message behind, I would probably choose to leave it on something a little more special.
Yeah.
Albedo seems to be thinking pretty hard. We better not bother him.
Yeah. Let's just look for ourselves.
Everyone, I've found something that you should all have a look at.
Oh, good.
Oh, seems Kazuha discovered something. Let's go see what he's got.
What you got, Kazuha?
This
Oh,
flower pot was in my house for a long time.
The tree, yeah.
I heard that it was left behind by my great-grandfather.
Not sure I'd call that a flower pot, but close enough.
While now.
Well, after my great-grandfather stopped studying the forging arts, he picked up the hobby of keeping bonsai plants.
Right.
Most of his prized plants were given to others once he became seriously ill.
But not this one.
But he specifically left behind this dead plant at the time, and even instructed my grandfather not to throw it away in his will. My grandfather deeply regretted that he never managed to reconcile with my great-grandfather.
I'll bet.
So he left the plant
Hearted in
exactly
anger.
as it was.
So
But
sad.
now that I think about it, my great-grandfather could very well have left it behind for other reasons.
Now that you mention it, this flower pot is kind of suspicious.
More like a tree pot, Paimon.
Yes. Let's take a closer look, shall we?
A hidden compartment at the bottom of the tree pot.
It's only a bunch of blank paper.
Well, let's dip them in water.
Someone already discovered the compartment and swapped the contents?
No, I do not think that is the case here. See the paper? It's quite yellowed, which means it's very old.
Try the water again?
You mean to say that these sheets have been written with special ink? Like that which Miss Kamisato found before?
Yeah, to avoid
Yes, I
anyone
agree with
from
this hypothesis.
accidentally stumbling upon this,
Let's give it a dunk then.
whatever it is.
There is a pond outside the police station. I'll use the water there.
Go to the pond with Kazuha. What does it say, Kazuha?
Those weren't just plain old sheets of paper, were they?
No.
Just as everyone guessed, after I sprinkled some water onto the paper, writing did indeed begin to appear on it.
But
it is a letter written by my great-grandfather.
A confession?
What does the letter say?
Is it something you can share with us?
It is. I'll tell you what my great-grandfather knew at the time, but before that, I wish to take you somewhere.
Of course.
Everyone, please follow me.
Kaidehara, why did you lead us to this beach?
Is this place related to the
is.
contents?
In fact, my great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan tracked the fleeing swordsmiths to this very location. Our hypothesis was correct. My great-grandfather was well aware of the truth behind the defective blades. And it was right here where they encountered the culprit who framed the Kaidehara clan and the Raiden Gokaden. It
Who was
reads,
it?
To whoever reads this letter, I, Kaidehara Yoshinori, have been held to a certain secret throughout my entire life.
Yeah?
I
Is
don't
someone
have much
important?
longer in this world, and after much consideration, I finally decided to disclose the matter. All those years ago, when I was pursuing the swordsmiths alongside Commissioner Kamisato of the Yashiro Commission, I was not injured by one of the fleeing smiths. Rather,
you let them go?
It was night, and after the clues led us down to shore, I waited for the culprits to show themselves. However, there were no swordsmiths in sight, only a single eccentric stranger.
Ooh.
This stranger claimed to be the one behind the failed forgings, and said that he had been patiently waiting for us. He then threatened to destroy the Raiden Gokaden. That person was
that
of
Wanderer?
evil body, and in a blink of an eye, myself and the accompanying samurai had been defeated. Commissioner Kamisato was severely wounded, and I barely escaped death myself.
Oh my!
My hat had fortunately blunted a blow to my head.
Like I recognize that smile, that
Stranger
malicious
could have
smile
easily
anywhere.
claimed my life at that moment.
The outfit too.
But after noticing my appearance, he stopped his attacks and sternly asked if I had any connection with the name Niwa.
Niwa?
I answered that it was my father's surname, and after my father disappeared, I was adopted by the Kaedehara family.
Oh.
Upon hearing my answer, the stranger paused. After a long silence, he suddenly said, "Tell her this. My name is Kunikuzushi." He then turned and left.
We didn't get quite a clear enough look at it, but I think that was Wanderer.
So that's
Scaramouche.
what really happened.
yes. My great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan escaped from death and learned that the forging diagram had been tampered with by Kunikuzushi.
Kunikuzushi, is that his real name?
However, due to the encounter, the head of the Kamisato clan was worried that my great-grandfather would be falsely accused of being involved with the perpetrator. So even on his deathbed, the master of the Kamisato clan cautioned my great-grandfather to never speak of what happened.
That is...
Because the perpetrator said he would destroy the Raiden Gokaden. My great-grandfather worried that the perpetrator would still return for vengeance. So, to protect his loved ones, he closed the family business. He said,
sad.
As the leader of the Kaedehara clan, I am deeply ashamed to witness the decline of the Ishin art. But as a father, it is my priority to ensure the safety of my children and
I
grandchildren.
like this guy.
Yes, that's right. If my grandpa had somehow discovered the secret behind the tampered diagram all those years ago, perhaps my great-grandfather would have told him the truth.
Resulted in the death of the Raiden Gokaden anyways,
he failed
but
to catch any of the
protected
hints
his
in my
family.
great-grandfather's words. Miss Kamisato, it appears you were unaware of the happenings that my great-grandfather described here. What are your thoughts?
I suppose the reason the head of the Kamisato house never spoke of this to the family was due to similar safety concerns.
Probably.
If the perpetrator was capable of tampering with even the Shogun's diagrams, and could single-handedly defeat many men, then he is not an ordinary enemy.
He is definitely
I will discuss
not.
this matter with Brother shortly, and investigate the identity behind the one called Kunikuzushi. Rest assured, we will act cautiously.
Definitely not ordinary.
To be honest, as I read the letter, I felt much turbulence in my heart. But now I've managed to calm myself. My great-grandfather said in the letter that he did not wish his descendants to blindly seek revenge and be deceived by things of the past.
You're gonna be
Although he
involved
was
in
a
the
tight situation when he
whenever
wrote these
Wanderer
words,
comes back,
I
Kazuha.
feel like they are still valid nonetheless. I think what's most important for each person is not the past, but the present. Even though we must carry the burdens from the past, there are also things we wish to strive for.
Yeah.
Therefore, knowing the truth behind what happened is enough for me. I will live on just as my great-grandfather had hoped.
Nice. Oh, I love you,
That being
Kazuha.
said, if the enemy from all those years ago is still lurking and plotting to stir up more trouble,
He might be.
then I definitely won't turn a blind eye.
Always sensible,
These are
Kazuha.
simply insights I've gathered from all that I've experienced. Thank you all for accompanying me in my search for the truth behind that incident.
Great! Now that we're done here, let's head back to Rito.
This has been interesting. Wonder why he sabotaged the Gokuden. Or the sword. I guess something against the Shogun. I mean, this must have been relatively soon after he was created, right? As the sort of prototype for the Shogun's new body, I would guess. Finally, the day of the release event arrives. And I think it strikes me that this would have been the event just before the archipelago, right? So they were actually expanding on the story we learn here about, the fall of his family.
Today is the final stage of the Irodori Festival. Not only will there be Xingqiu's signing event, but Albedo's painting of Kuranushi will also be unveiled.
Yeah.
Let's take a stroll
Who's
through
gonna
the
take the
festival
place of
venue.
Kuranushi?
Maybe we'll find everyone there.
Porch has been covered by a piece of cloth. Seems like you only God damn it. We'll only know when it's
Hello,
time.
traveler.
Yeah. Albedo?
Albedo, why is the portrait of Kuranushi all covered up? Paimon wants to see what your Kuranushi portrait looks like.
Yeah, same here.
Don't worry. The unveiling ceremony will be starting shortly. You'll see what it looks like then. I will say that I'm
We don't
most
get a sneak
satisfied with
peek?
this particular work. I even made a special trip to see someone in order to complete it. They gave me some very valuable suggestions.
Things are starting to sound pretty mysterious, yeah. Is it gonna be Scaramouche?
Is that so? Anyway, there is still
Did
time
we talk
before
to the
ceremony.
Shogun somehow?
You may have a look around the venue first.
Traveler, Paimon, it's
Hey
a pleasure
there.
to see you.
How's the signing going?
Indeed it did. Thanks to you, the signing event went off without a hitch.
Nice.
And I must say, the readers seem most satisfied.
Xingqiu, is it just Paimon, or are you on the lookout for something?
Oh? What do you think,
aren't
Paimon?
mistaken, though I'm ashamed to admit it. But in fact, I have been on the watch for tourists from Liyue.
Oh?
After all, I came to Inazuma under the pretext of evaluating a potential investment.
Right.
If an acquaintance were to see me sitting here,
Oh, she's so
then there
excited.
would be no way to hide the truth from my father.
Right.
Fortunately, the crowds of readers that came flocking over have kept the usual tourists at bay.
Good.
Oh, I should mention, Shu is also unaware of the real purpose of my trip.
Oh.
If you happen to meet him, please, remember to keep it a secret.
Don't worry, we've got you covered. Yeah, we won't
Then,
rat on you.
Please accept my thanks in advance. I'm sorry that I can't chat long. There are still readers waiting in line. I'll see you later at the unveiling ceremony for Kuronushi's portrait.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing you there.
Well, hello everyone.
Miko, good to see you.
Hey, what are you two doing
Yeah,
together?
you have to know who Venti is, right?
See you two chatting up a storm just now. The moment we came over, you stopped talking.
Is that so? I'm afraid you're just overthinking things.
We were merely discussing wine and food.
Oh yeah, I
I'm sure
believe
you
you.
two wouldn't be interested.
Totally.
Speaking of good sides with sake, I personally prefer fried tofu.
What? No.
Forget it. Even if those two
Disappointed
are
in you,
plotting
Miko.
something, they'll never let us know.
Such better sides than that.
Ah, greetings, traveler.
Hey,
Paimon.
Ayato.
Oh, Ayato! We finally get to see the busiest person of all.
Yes,
Yeah.
there were many things which required my attention these past few days. Fortunately, the Irodori Festival is proceeding smoothly.
Can I get a look at your
The
pants?
Tri-Commission cooperated closely
See
to
if you were
prepare
that
this
mysterious
festival,
figure.
so at long last, I can take a break today.
Brother and I are very grateful for your help.
Oh, it's no trouble, Ayaka.
Toma sure is taking his sweet time.
Oh, Toma. It'd be good to see him too.
Yes. Today is one of the rare occasions when Brother isn't busy. I was going to buy some books, but he said he wanted to come along. His treat. However, he forgot his wallet at home, so he asked Toma to go back and fetch it for him.
I see.
Paimon didn't think Ayato could ever be forgetful like that.
Yeah.
Brother always works diligently, and it's rare for him to ever put his duties to the side and relax.
Yeah.
So, Toma and I really cherish such moments when he's forgetful.
That's adorable. I love it.
Kazuha, what are you doing here? Why aren't you at the festival?
Yeah.
I came here to take in the sea breeze. Such a bustling atmosphere is never really to my liking.
Fair enough.
I knew you were still worried about me.
Well.
Thank you. But please, don't worry. The things I said in front of everyone weren't just pretty-sounding excuses.
Good.
Look. See this familiar harbor in front of us? Before, you could sit here all day without seeing a single ship pass through.
Yeah.
Instead, all you would see were soldiers from the Kanjo Commission, guarding against possible intruders.
Right.
But
now
it's become a bustling place.
Aw.
Not only are foreigners coming to Inazuma again, but traffic between here and Watatsumi Island has also been picking up.
Yep.
Yeah. Inazuma's already started to change, huh?
It
I was
has.
thinking, in some ways, each and every one of us are similar to this country. It might take a different amount of time for different people, but there will inevitably come a day when each person can let go of their burdens. And when they finally let go, they are free to follow the wind as they please.
You really do belong as an animo. You and Venti are of kindred spirits.
Time for the portrait's unveiling ceremony. Let's head over to the 5 Kasen Plaza.
Everyone, welcome to the magnificent Irodori Festival.
Hello there, Hiroyama.
Today, we have ushered in the final stage of our festival.
Going for the
And
dramatic
now we will
pauses.
reveal the final portrait of the 5 Kasen, Kuronushi, which was done by none other than our guest artist from Mondstadt, Calx.
Yay!
Paimon has no idea what Albedo's portrait looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so nerve-wracking.
Very curious who it's
Let's
gonna
all
be.
count down together. 3, 2, 1.
And come on.
What's this?
Oh?
This piece depicts nothing but a background.
Huh.
I suppose Calx must have forgotten to include the character.
No.
Let's hear some words from Calx himself regarding the creative process behind this piece.
It matches the
Hello,
light novel
everyone.
too.
First, I would like to say that it was an honor to be invited to create the portraits of the 5 Kasen. The 5 Kasen are legendary figures from ancient Inazuma, famous for their works of poetry.
But it also
As time passed, poems were composed about them.
sort of
and they
matches the
became
story of the 5
subjects of many
Kasen.
stories.
He sort of
I
blends
learned
into the
from
background.
existing sources about those stories that the character of Kuronushi is the deepest and most differing of the 5 Kasen. Moreover, Kuronushi lacks a dedicated chapter among the stories. It's as if he is a behind-the-scenes role of the 5 Kasen.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can assume that every creator had a different understanding of Kuronushi. So, in the same way, I also wanted to leave this character to everyone's own imagination.
Mm.
After all, the Irodori Festival is a
Yeah,
place
it's
for
kinda
everyone
fitting.
to express their minds through creative works.
Yep, that's Albedo for ya. His super logical explanation is sure to win everyone's approval.
It makes sense. It's a very artistic piece.
At the
Or
Irodori
choice,
Festival
rather.
have come to a close.
You sure, Paimon?
What are you talking about?
We don't know about who the mysterious benefactor was.
Oh, right! We still haven't figured out who left those stories of the 5 Kasen for us to find.
Wait, we have an inkling of who it might be? Traveler?
Really? Come on then, who is it? Tell Paimon!
Yeah. We only saw their legs. Someone who knows every one of us.
That makes sense. Otherwise, there'd be no way to give the right paper to the right person every time.
Also connected with the Kaidahara clan. You don't think it was Ayato, do you?
Right. Even though they were using stories to hint us toward Xingqiu's troubles, the real goal was to lead us to solve the secrets of the Kaidahara clan.
Right.
Paimon gets it now. Well, at least Paimon thinks she knows.
Well, let's find out.
Let's go. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Confront whoever it is.
Ayato! You're the one behind the stories of the 5 Kasen! But don't you think you overdid it a little? Leading all your friends on a wild hunt like that?
Was it really you?
As it just so happens, one of the reasons I'm here today is to explain
Okay,
the
it was.
details behind this wild hunt.
It'd been a fun twist if he actually wasn't.
Paimon wants to see how you'll explain yourself out of this one.
First of all, the start of this whole incident was due to mere happenstance. You see, Lady Yai happened to catch sight of Xingqiu and the editor carrying the books away one night.
Of course she
thought it
knew
was
the whole
interesting,
time.
So she asked me to tease them a bit.
So it was Miko after all!
Miko.
Knew it. This thing had Miko written all over it!
That grin on her face
That's
on that
right.
portrait is perfect for her.
But using the story of the 5 Kasen to guide you to the Kaidahara family's secrets was my personal touch. As for my roundabout approach, well, that was something which I had no choice but to do.
Why? No
Yes.
choice?
Due to a certain incident that occurred earlier, I happened to notice the bonsai plants left behind by Kaedehara Yoshinori, as well as the blank papers hidden inside. I knew there was more than meets the eye regarding those papers, but it took me some time to figure out the secret behind the ink.
So you did know the
kind
whole
that would only
time.
appear when exposed to water. What Kaedehara Yoshinori said in the letter is very important for both the Kamisato clan and the descendants of the Kaedehara clan,
Yeah.
especially Kazuha. The Kaedehara clan used to be subordinates of the Kamisato clan. It was my ancestors who were unable to protect them all those years ago.
Right. In fact, the Kaidahara
So
clan
now,
protected the
this
Kamisato
obligation
clan.
fell on my shoulders. Although he has the right to know the truth, the closer he draws to things hidden out of sight, the closer he also draws to danger.
Right.
I had to confirm whether Kazuha has both the will and ability to be privy to the truth.
Fair enough.
Of course, I could outright tell him the truth that I had discovered. But maybe he doesn't have the will that's required.
If he doesn't want the
In
truth.
that case, the truth would only become a burden to him.
Right.
If he lacks the ability, then he wouldn't be able to find the truth in the first place. In which case, it would be better to keep him away from danger altogether. Kaedehara Yoshinori left his message in a roundabout way precisely for this reason. For a long
Right.
time, I yearned for a suitable opportunity to convey this matter, right up until the night when a legend of sword was smuggled away.
And it was a perfect opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't only Kazuha. You brought all of the rest of us into this plan of yours.
Well, we're thankful for that, Paimon.
I figured you would ask this question eventually. I merely saw that this matter would be of value to you. And more importantly, I hoped that while Kazuha and Ayaka were looking for the answers together, they would have some reliable friends by their side. Reliable friends who would be willing to protect them and make measured decisions.
Well, we are more than
Friends who
willing
would
to
spare
protect
no
them.
effort to lend a helping hand in times of trouble.
Hell yeah.
Because it is also very likely that you will face the same enemy together in the future.
Yes, who is Kunikuzushi?
You already know the answer deep down inside, don't you?
Yes, I do.
The answer is actually hidden in the portrait of Kuronushi.
Is it?
When there is no one else near the portrait, you can confirm with your own eyes. As for the means of revealing that answer, well, you have used it many times before.
Yes. So it was right. It is water revealed later at night. Ooh, midnight. Early morning.
It's getting pretty late, so nobody else is around now. So Ayato must have been telling us to splash water on the portrait, right?
Hopefully, otherwise we're about to commit a pretty serious vandalism. Yes.
It's the Balladeer!
Yeah. I haven't heard that name in a long time either. Yeah, Balladeer. That's his
The one behind the trouble all those years ago.
Scaramouche, but the Balladeer.
When there is no one else near the portrait, you can confirm with your own eyes. As for the means of revealing that answer,
Wanderer's
well, you have used it many times before.
It's just a
Also, there's one
another
last
alter
thing
ego.
that we must discuss. I mentioned earlier that the occurrence of a certain incident made me notice the bonsai plants. I wish to tell you of that incident now.
Oh?
It was just after the Shogun announced the abolition of the Sakoku decree. I heard that something had happened at the Tenryou Commission.
Oh no.
They had discovered signs that someone had entered the warehouse storing the Commission's articles of evidence and confiscated items. But nothing was stolen.
Huh.
I felt something unusual about that incident, so I told Kujo-Sara of the Tenryou Commission to treat it as if nothing happened. She was not to increase the guard or relocate the warehouse contents.
Right.
In the meantime, I sent a member of the Shumatsuban to keep watch over the warehouse. And sure enough, someone was sneaking in and rummaging through the belongings of the Kaidahara clan.
Was it Wanderer?
You mean he was also looking for...
The clue?
I let him search for a while, but in the end, he found nothing. Soon after, he had to leave Inazuma by boat.
Enough about the man to find it, yeah. Hey, who you gonna send after Scaramouche?
The best way to protect a secret is to treat it as if it doesn't exist.
That
is
too.
it not? Besides, the identity of this person is not hard to guess.
It is,
After he left Inazuma, I carefully checked the Kaidahara clan's belongings one by one, and eventually discovered the papers in the hidden compartment of the flower pot. I am certain that the papers are the secret which the infiltrator sought to find, though he couldn't confirm whether this secret existed at all.
Interesting that he wanted to keep it covered up so
now
bad.
on to my final question.
And that he waited so many years.
Which part of Kaidahara Yoshinori's experiences was the secret that needed to be protected?
Ooh. That the Kaidahara Yoshinori knew that the family was framed. That Kaidahara Yoshinori knew that the culprit was named Kunikuzushi. That the Kaidahara Yoshinori was spared by his opponent. Ooh. Its first instinct was that his name was Kunikuzushi. But actually, I think it was that the Balladeer spared him. Just maybe. Yeah.
I don't have an answer to this question at present, so I'll leave it to your future self.
I'm leaning
As
more
for now,
towards the sparing.
Please, enjoy yourselves at the Irodori Festival.
That would be important to what we know about the Balladeer. That was interesting. A very good event, and I can sort of see why this one was especially important too.